Is casual sex bad for you as a woman? I mean, what's the problem with having a guy friend that you hang out with, spend some time with, and if you hook up, you hook up? Couldn't be that bad, right? What if I told you it actually traumatizes you, but you don't even realize how? Which is why on today's show, we're going to be answering the very important question: is casual sex bad for you as a woman? And if so, how can you avoid being traumatized by an experience that was supposed to bring you pleasure? Welcome to the Players Club. If you're paying attention to me and everyone else in the live stream, please say here or present so that I know you're here present and actively participating. Welcome all you beautiful people into the show. I apologize for being late. I'm having this reoccurring issue. I don't know if this happened to anyone else. Well, you guys probably aren't posting as much on TikTok as me, but I'm not able to post on TikTok. I think it's a TikTok issue. I've been trying to get this post up to promote the show since for the past 20 minutes, and it won't let me post. So I was trying to troubleshoot that. That's why I was so late today. I apologize for that. But welcome all you beautiful people. I love seeing you all here and ready to go. Hopefully those of you are here because you have my notifications on, and whether or not I post about it, you guys are ready to expect me to be here. Okay, so before we get going, we got some donations right from the start here. Thank you so much to BGN who donates, SA, who donates $21 BGN. I don't know what BGN is in the YouTube chat. So thank you for the early donation and welcome all of you here. I see all of you down in the YouTube chat. I see SH here, Zuzi, I believe I saw Scotty as well. Angie, Carol, welcome all you beautiful people in the TikTok chat. And of course, we got Tracy Nows over here in the YouTube chat, one of our members. We got Ivy, one of our members in the YouTube chat. We got Cashley, of course, holding it down in the YouTube chat, and Lightning Alchemy. Welcome all of you beautiful people in the YouTube chat. And of course, Missy America is holding us down as our moderator in the YouTube chat. All right, guys, let's get this thing on the road. Okay, we already started late, so we're gonna go late today, even though I was gonna go late for you guys anyways. So number one, and this is a very important conversation that we're gonna have today, because this is something that you need to be made aware of, because a lot of people are going to be trying to convince you of things that are, I don't even want to say untrue, but are detrimental to your own well-being. Okay. So number one is if I was a boy mentality. All right. Now everything that I'm going to say and talk to you about today is going to sound and feel like it's a little bit of an attack on you or the way that you go about your life. I want you to understand what I'm trying to do here is actively help you, right? Help you see the results that I know you want to see by simultaneously avoiding the obstacles that I know you're going to come across if you continue to go down a particular path. So in this scenario, what we're specifically referring to is the idea of hookup culture and just casually spending some time with guys that are your friends. Everything's cool, everything's chill, and I'm not looking for a relationship anyway. So what does it hurt with me being with a guy that I might sleep with every now and again? It's cool, it's chill, Tomisin. You take things too seriously. It's not that deep. If I was a boy syndrome is the idea that, and this is not all your fault, it's also the fault of everyone around you who has been encouraging you in this mindset. If I was a boy syndrome is that, oh, because you're a woman, right? And you see that the men in your life and that you watch, they're all able to sleep with you and sleep with multiple other girls and seemingly be able to be like sociopaths. They don't have feelings. They're not ever sad. They're not ever emotional. They don't ever care, right? They sleep with this girl one day, then they sleep with another girl another day. They don't care how they treat any of those girls. They don't care if they get how much access they get to have with those girls. As long as they can sleep with them, it's fine. They're never traumatized. They're never hurt. They're never attached, right? That's the big thing. You see that these men sleep with all these different girls and they never seem to get attached to any of those girls. So you're thinking in your mind, oh, I see that the guys are able to do it. They never get attached. They sleep with whoever they want. They think it's chill. it's not that deep. I must be taking things too seriously because when I sleep with a guy, I make it a big thing. I'm investing in him and I'm thinking, what are we going to be and how are we going to build this and where is it going to end up? And it's just, I'm realizing that I need to take a chill pill because there's no reason for me to take relationships so seriously, especially because you see how the boys take their relationships. They barely even take it seriously at all. We casually talk, we casually hang out. All the boys I date or I see, they're so cool about everything. I think it would be better if I was a cool girl too. I'm going to be like the boys. Because if I'm like more of the boys, then maybe they'll like me because I'm as cool and I'm as chill as they are. And I realize I can be just like them and sleep with people, be cool about it, be chill about it, not care. We're friends, everything's fine, nothing to worry about. I'm realizing that I've been putting too much on these guys. And if I was more like a boy, then things would be better off in my relationships or situationships with these boys. This is why we're here today. I want to erase all of that thinking and thought process from your mind. Okay? Despite the fact that we sit here and we both talk about men and the way that they think, I'm sharing a lot of times with you a perspective in which you can't quite grasp and understand because you're not a man. That's perfectly fine. It's why I exist in your life. And vice versa, men can never truly understand you or be you. Okay? We all have particular skill sets. Now, I can't speak for any other types of relationships. They're all different types of relationships and all different types of different genders. I'm just speaking on straight heterosexual people in relationships. Okay. The man has particular responsibilities in the way that he carries himself and goes about relationships and thinks and reacts and responds to things. You as a woman have your own set of responsibilities, skill sets, quality traits, all that good stuff that you possess that the men don't. That's perfectly fine. That's how we were meant to be. Okay. Different. That's fine. So I want you to understand, it is a mistake when you think that the best way for you to go about your life is to be more like the boys in your thought process and in your approach, because then when you're more like the boys, right, your life will be so much easier and carefree, like you see the boys living life carefree. They get to sleep with whoever they want and it doesn't matter. They're not attached. So why don't you get to sleep with whoever you want and, you don't be attached? Alchemy says double standards are unfair. Women should be free to make choices without judgment, just like men. Let's promote equality and respect for all. Aha! I'm so glad that Alchemy said that, because that was the absolute second point that I was going to go to when it comes to if I was a boy, is the thought process that, oh my gosh, it is so unfair how I'm judged if I sleep with men casually or just want it to be chill and friendly and do whatever I want to do, but the men aren't judged for doing that same thing. It's a double standard. And if the men get to do it, then I should get to do it too. I want you to understand something. I'm your friend, so I can acknowledge that it is a double standard. I can acknowledge that it is unfair, that people will judge you or people will say things about you if you try to be like that and sleep with whoever you want and be casual about it. And maybe guys might not accept you or want you because of that. But I'm here to tell you, I can't help you change the world into a utopia where things are never unfair. And the reality of it is, if you sleep with guys casually for free, right? When I say for free, I just mean you give yourself emotionally and spiritually away to those men for nothing. They will only mistreat you. They will only take advantage of you. And what will happen is a very important point that we're going to discuss all throughout this. At the end of the day, because you are not a man and you're not built like a man emotionally and spiritually, and the process of you sleeping with a man is you receiving him into you. And I'm not just talking about physically, I'm talking about emotionally and spiritually receiving him into you. It's a very intimate experience, not just of the physical, but like the emotional and the spiritual as well. And so when you're receiving him into you, that's always going to impact you on a level that the men can never understand. Okay? We can never truly understand what it feels like to receive someone emotionally and physically into us like that. And the amount of vulnerability required for you to accept someone into your soul and your spirit like that. Do you understand what I'm saying? And the reason I'm saying that is because there's a difference in the way that we interact with the idea of being like intimate on that level. Like we're perceiving that totally different. Right? And so the moment you start thinking I'm going to be more like the boys because the boys get to do it, they don't get judged, they get to have all the fun, why shouldn't I get to have all the fun? You're immediately making a mistake because the way you're going to perceive the fun that you want to have is totally different than the men will ever perceive it. And the thing about it is, no matter how much you want to think like a boy and feel like a boy and not get attached like a boy, you're never going to share that same experience of a boy. Because all the guys that you casually sleep with, you're going to be receiving them into you. Okay? And the reason I'm having this conversation with you today, I never want you to think, oh, I'm having this conversation with you today because I know what's best for your life and I want to tell you what to do because I'm the king and I know everything. I don't know nothing. I'm just a regular human being. But what I do know is that from my own perspective as a guy, one of the greatest things known to mankind for us men who want to play women and get what we want from women, one of the greatest things known to mankind for us that ever came of existence is hookup culture. If you take anything away from this show, I want you to understand hookup culture literally was the best thing to ever happen to us as men. Because back in the day, before we had as much equality as we do now in the world, where women couldn't have a say in a lot of things, men, hookup culture never was in existence because it was never accepted, because it was just never a thing. You didn't hear women talking about it because it wasn't accepted by other women, and you didn't hear men talking about it because it wasn't accepted by other men. And the thing about it is, while you increased in your rights and inequality and all that good stuff that you should get more of, hookup culture also became a part of the ways in which you gained more equality or acceptance. But I want you to realize that the hookup culture that exists now doesn't actually benefit you. And the reason I'm having this conversation with you and I'm here to share with you a man's perspective is because we get to use hookup culture against you. We feed it to you, encourage you in it, convince you that you should think more like the guys and be more like the guys. Why? Because then you sleep with us for free, for absolutely nothing. We put in no work, no effort. We spend no money on dates. We don't even have to pretend like we like you. We just get to live under the preset, oh my God, we're all friends. This is one big friendship. Oh my God, don't you see how much our friendship is building? I'm here for you. You're here for me. We hold hands. We sing Kumbaya. We go to the bar. We laugh. We sleep together. We go outside. We spend some time. We sleep together. We go out to get something to eat. I forget my wallet, so you have to pay, but we're friends, so it's not like a date. So you pay for my food and we sleep together. And I ask you to just come chill at my place. We get under the blankets and you give me a handy or you give me a footy and we sleep together. But you know, we're just friends and everything's so friendly. Don't you feel the love of friendship? Friendship is so beautiful when I can jackrabbit myself inside of you for 90 seconds. Don't you feel the friendship this way? And this is what I'm here for you today, is to help you to reconfigure your mind frame around hookup culture specifically, because this show is going to be, if you didn't already realize it, this show is going to be about hookup culture. But I want to reframe hookup culture for you from the perspective of men and what they're going to share with you and say to you, because hookup culture actually benefits them, but they don't ever want you to realize that hookup culture actually benefits them because they're benefiting from it. So why would they make you aware of how they're gaining from it and you're actually losing from it? Right? Which is why I'm here to help you understand how they're gaining from it while you lose from it. And even when you think you're winning, you only end up losing. I know some of you are like, what? How is that? No, but I actually don't want a relationship, so I actually don't care. Tomisin, the guy that I'm sleeping with, that we're just friends, I actually am cool with just being friends. I don't want anything from him. I don't even think he would be a worthy boyfriend, so I'm actually winning because I get to sleep with the guy and get pleasure from him while knowing that this isn't going anywhere. So I don't care, Tomisin. I'm not losing in any way. Just hold on. After we spend some time together, going to give you some examples and some situations and scenarios, and I'll help you understand how even though you think you're winning by doing this and participating in this, you actually end up losing 100% of the time, okay? And I have to say this, and I know it sounds scary and you're like, oh my gosh, maybe I'm making some mistakes, but I really want you to absorb this so that anytime, this is the most important part, anytime a guy comes to you and tries to convince you of, oh my God, hookup culture is like, it's not even that big of a deal. You need to be taking more of a chill pill, because us being friends and us doing this casual thing, it's just a representation of how chill we are. And the more chill you are, the more chill it makes me feel, the more chill our relationship is. And being chill is the number one thing you can be in this world. Is just because when you're chill, everything's chill, everyone's relaxed, and the chillness just takes over, and we all just chill and sing Chill by Ah. See, I want to stop you from ever being convinced that being chill, being relaxed, casual hookups, that's the way to go, because the guys that are going to try to convince you of that are going to preach it to you in a way that sounds really enticing, like you can do it and like you can benefit from it. And I want you to realize you're never going to benefit from it and you're never going to win that way. And it's an easy trick for us in 2024 because of all the different factors like societal pressure, like cultural pressure, all of the things that we're going to discuss today are essentially, like ABC just said, gaslighting you into believing that this benefits you when it actually traumatizes you. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I love you and I care about you and I cherish you. So I actually want you to stop being tricked by a lot of these things, because they're kind of like stacking on top of each other. It's not just the guy talking to you and telling you these things. It's also societal pressure. It's also cultural pressure. It's also the things that you're watching. It's also the things that you're listening to. We're going to discuss all of that, but all of this is mixing together to make you feel like the right way to go about your life, or the right way to do things, is to be more like the guys. But you've never been a guy and you'll never be a guy. And you'll never experience the intimate idea of sleeping with someone like a guy does. Okay? So, number one is if I was a boy mentality. Number two is what we call cultural pressure. Now, I want all of you paying very, very close attention to this part. Okay? I want you to understand, like we just talked about, the boys are going to try to convince you as well that this is good for you and this benefits you. And yes, go you, that we can be casual and sleep together and it not be a big deal. Ironically enough, women are also convincing you of that in the culture that you exist in today. And it's most prevalent in the music that you listen to, okay? I listen, I know today's show is going to sound very spiritual, way deeper than it ever has to be, but that's just how we do it on the Players Club, okay? In the music that you listen to, because the music that you listen to, unbeknownst to you, is actually helping to brainwash you into believing that you should be living your life and going about your life in a particular way. And the craziest thing about it is there's a whole snowball effect, because not only is it about the artist that you listen to and what they're saying in the music, you also repeat that back when you're speaking that music or you're singing along with that music. So you're speaking that into existence for your life. So you begin manifesting that into your own life because you're speaking it out from your mouth. And then on top of that, you also hear other people listen to the same music, enjoy the same music. So then when they speak it out loud and they're championing it, it makes it even more concrete evidence for you in your own mind that this is how you should be living your life, because you see other people championing that same mindset. I know that I'm making this sound so much deeper than it actually is. You're probably thinking to yourself, Tomisin, you know what? Like this stuff you're talking about, you're going way off the deep end. Tomisin, you're talking about music. I like Meg Thee Stallion. I like me some Ice Spice. I just like to listen to a couple tunes and move on with my day. It's not that big a deal. You're making this way deeper than it has to be. But I can assure you, when we talk about hookup culture and having casual pineapples with people for fun, out of friendship, all of these factors are leading into why you believe that's how you should be going about your relationships or approaching your life, okay? And how it only ends up hurting you. Because when you hear Ice Spice say, what's a good Ice? I'm trying to think of an Ice Spice song. The only one that's playing in my head is that Glorilla one where she's like, it's 7 p.m. Friday, 95 degrees. I ain't got ain't got me. That's the only one that ever plays in my song. But when you hear Ice Spice, when you hear Glorilla, when you hear Meg Thee Stallion, right? When she's talking about them knees, when she's talking about driving the boat, I want to drive the boat. When everyone is talking about the same thing, right? And you're hearing the same thing from multiple people all the time, you start to believe that maybe that's how I should be living my life. I mean, Glorilla does it. I mean, Ice Spice does it. I mean, Meg Thee Stallion does it. I mean, the City Girls do it. So I should be doing the same thing. Now, I'm not saying you should never, ever enjoy the music and never, ever enjoy hip hop music, because it's very prevalent in hip hop music. That's not what I'm saying. But what I want you to understand is that's also one of the factors that's creating this mindset within you that, yeah, you know, maybe the best way to live my life is having casual pineapples with men that I'm just friends with. And it's not that big a deal because the guys do it. So why can't I do the same thing that he's doing? Right? Ali says, wait, but if he's cheating, we're not doing him worse. Like that's one of the Ice Spice lines, right? If he's cheating, I'm doing him worse, or whatever the line is, right? Right. And so these are part of the things that you hear over and over again. And as you hear, it's literally like a chant and like a brainwashing, because as you hear it over and over and over again, and then you speak it while you're hearing it and singing along to it over and over and over again, you begin to believe that that's how you should be living your life, because you start thinking, well, I mean, that's what everyone else is doing. That's how everyone else is going about it. Everyone else likes it and everyone else thinks that that's the right way. So why don't I do the same thing? And so all of you kind of aid yourself, because remember, I talked about the boys clap it up and they champion it because like, this works for us. This is good for us. But then also the worst part is that the women also help aid you in making you make the worst decisions of your life, because they convince you that it's also a good way to live your life. And the funniest part about it is, I wish I could show you guys this video. I really do wish I could show you guys this video because it's such a powerful video. There's a video on YouTube where because the City Girls is two people. And for those of you who don't listen to hip hop, I don't want to lose you here, but just stay with me. The City Girls is a group that made this one song called Act Bad. The song called Act Bad just goes like this. It goes, how does this start again? Anyways, it's like, big Birkin bag, hold 5-6 figures, stripes on my, so he called us Tigger, and on a scamming that at same group of, that's how the song goes. Anyways, my point is, this group's called City Girls. They make a lot of music like that. Nothing wrong with that. That's their own thing. I'm not here to judge them. But I say that to say, they make music like that. One of the members of the City Girls, her name is Young Miami, was on an interview. I wish I could show you guys this video. When I get my stuff all better in tune, I'll be able to show you guys. There's an interview that she did where literally in the interview, she is asking, the interviewer is asking her a question and says, hey, you have a daughter. Do you let your daughter listen to the music that you make? She says, absolutely not. He's like, what? She's like, absolutely not. My daughter will never be listening to the music that I make. I don't even allow her to listen to the type of music that other people make that are like me. I do not. She literally said this word for word. And I hate to quote it, like it makes it seem like I'm just spitballing. This is what she actually said. My daughter will never be a city girl. Never. That's what she said in the interview. She's the City Girls, right? She's one of the members of the City Girls. And she said, my daughter will never be a city girl. I'm not raising her to be a city girl. That's not the life that I want for her. And I say that to say, even the people making the music that you think you should be believing in, that that's how you should be living your life, they don't even believe that that's the way they should be raising their children, or that's the way that people should be living their life. So you can only imagine how crazy it is that the people aiding and brainwashing you, making you believe that this is how you should live your life by casually giving yourself to men for free because friendship, the people that are aiding you in that brainwashing don't even believe that themselves. And they're actively, purposely not teaching their children that because they know better than to teach their children that. But they teach it to you and they spread it to you because that's what sells. And they don't care that you actually start to believe in that and go about your life that way. And then you only end up traumatized looking around like, why was everyone encouraging me to do the thing that only ended up ruining my life? Okay? And this is why I say, I really feel like we need to have this conversation because I know the way you get hammered with it by the girls and the guys starts to make you feel like, no, but this is the right thing to do. And so even when I'm telling you, there's probably some mistakes here and you're going to see how this is actually detrimental to your well-being, you're thinking to yourself, no, but I hear it all the time. And no, but the guys get to do it. And no, but everyone judges us, so I should get to do just like the guy. Why shouldn't get to judge? I deserve equality. I deserve to sleep who I want. And you literally start, because the narrative has become so hardened in your mind by all of the people telling you that this is how you should be living your life, you begin to literally fight against the idea that this is not how you should live your life. And you don't want to accept that you might be different, that you might not be able to experience such an intimate experience of receiving a man into you and just not be attached with him and just have casual pineapples with him. Okay? And like I said, I'm here to help you realize what a mistake this is and why you should never spend any of your time ever having casual pineapples with a man because friendship or because you're not ready for a relationship, okay? And this is the most important part, okay? So we talked about if I was a boy, okay? And we talked about cultural pressure. Now let's get really deep into hookup culture, okay? This is stop pooping time. If you're pooping, you pinch it off and no more poop comes out of your system until I finish with this point. This is a very important point. Number 3, we're going to discuss hookup culture in detail. Now, I want you to understand there are multiple parts of hookup culture. And like I said, there's a lot of things aiding in the idea that hookup culture is the way you should live your life. We talked about cultural pressure as it relates to music and also in the movies and the TV shows that you watch. Now, hookup culture is something that exists even outside of what you're consuming. It's even in the world that you're living in. So hookup culture exists in ways that are even more subtle than what you're listening to or what you're watching. Okay? Let me explain this. For example, right? Tinder is meant to be a dating site. However, if I were to ask you, what is the easiest way to go find a new guy to hook up with? And I said, well, how would you do it if you wanted to find a guy to hook up with right now? Majority of you would say the easiest way for me to find a random guy to hook up with right now is to go on Tinder, because I can message anyone that I want to, swipe right a couple times, and I can find someone that will hook up with me right now, today, tonight. Why is a dating app one of the first places you would go to find a casual hookup? If a dating app is one of the first places you would go if you were looking for a casual hookup, then how can a dating app not be for casual hookups? I mean, if it's a dating app, you should never be going there for casual hookups. And that shouldn't even be an option in your mind if it's for dating. So what has the dating app become if it's one of the first places you would go for a casual hookup? So I say that to say, this has become part of the issue, is not only in the things that you absorb in music and TV, the world that you live in, right? And the world that we live in has dating apps, has apps where you just message people, you meet up with them casually and everything's chill, to the point where you start to feel like, this is just a person I'm meeting, just a person I'm spending time with, just a person that's, we're just building a whatever. Who cares? Everything is whatever, right? You swipe left and you swipe right on 1,000 people, so it's whatever. It's not like if I don't like you, I'll swipe right on a couple of other men and I'll meet new men. If I don't like you, I'll swipe left on you and I'll never speak to you. Everything is whatever. It's whatever. There's so many options. There's plenty of, so someone said plenty of fish, the app, but there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's plenty of options. I can swipe on whoever I want. And, everything is casual and chill and it's whatever. So I say that to say this is the part of the mindset that gets fed into you in the thinking that if I meet you on this date and I don't like you, or I meet you and it doesn't work out, or I meet you, I sleep with you and then it doesn't work out, is it that really that big of a deal? I'll just swipe right on a new guy, meet a new guy, and maybe that new guy will be someone I like, right? And it kind of waters down the importance of each individual guy that you're in a relationship with or that you're spending your time on. And it starts to convince you that spending your time in places with people is not that big of a deal, right? And I want to hold you here because this is a very important point that I want to make to you. Part of hookup culture and part of the trick of hookup culture that's actually hurting you, unbeknownst to you, part of the trick of hookup culture is you being convinced that your time is not valuable. I really want you paying attention here, okay? This is the part I really need you to listen into. See, the thing about it is, part of when you convince yourself that casually sleeping with people is all right, it's whatever, right? One of the ways you're going to do that is by saying to yourself, right? This is the narrative you're going to build in your mind. I'm not even ready for a relationship anyways, whether it be because I'm emotionally unavailable, my last relationship that just ended and I'm still scarred from it and I'm still kind of invested in it. And so because of that, I'm not ready for a relationship anyways. I'm only looking for casual friends and fun and just to, relax and spend some time having some fun, right? Or because you say to yourself, right, it's either that, or you say to yourself, number two, which is, oh, the guy that I'm seeing right now and the guy that I'm dating right now, he's not even boyfriend material. But I do like his D game and he is cool to hang out with. So I'll just hang out with him and sleep with him casually. But I know that this is not going to end up anywhere, right? See, this is the problem. Hookup culture has convinced you that your time is not so valuable that you should be able to just waste it on people and men in relationships or friendships that aren't going anywhere. Because the truth of the matter is, a fake friendship, I call it a fake friendship because it's not actually a friendship. A fake friendship that's just meant to mask the fact that this relationship isn't going anywhere is only a waste of your time. You convince yourself, though, of the narrative that this is for your pleasure and your fun, and because you're either emotionally unavailable because of your last relationship, or because this guy isn't even who you're looking for in terms of boyfriend material anyways, that the best way to utilize your time now, instead of healing yourself from that past relationship, or instead of cutting this guy off and only spending your time and energy on somewhere where you can see it going somewhere with, on someone who you can see things going somewhere with, right? You instead say, well, since I'm not ready for a relationship or you're not who I'm looking for, rather than doing all that hard work, because that's a lot of hard work, I'd rather just sit and not think about that, not worry about that. And we hook up, we have some fun, and I can just chill, not think too hard, not really focus my time and energy on too much, not care about a whole lot, and we can just waste time. I know in your mind, when you're casually hooking up with guys or you're having your friends with benefits situations, you're thinking, well, it's not a waste of my time. I like spending time with this guy. I like, we laugh a lot, we giggle a lot, we share the same friend group, everything's chill. But in reality, any amount of time that you give to someone that you're not actually going to build with is a waste of your time. You only have a finite number of days on this earth. You don't have a lot. So you can't be wasting that on people who you're not building anything with. Having casual fun with someone who is your friend is a waste of your time, especially if you're intelligent and smart enough to identify, you know what, I actually don't want you. I don't want to be in a relationship with you, or I'm not ready to be in a relationship in general. The moment you realize that, you take that energy, because don't ever forget this. Don't ever forget this. Any man you are spending your time with, you are putting energy into. Don't ever think that you're immune to investing your energy into a man because you're like living from this detached state that you don't ever have to invest your energy in people, and you can be so detached that you can spend time with someone while not emotionally investing in them. Okay? Any person, any man that you're spending time with, you are investing your energy into, right? And if you're investing your energy into that man in any capacity, that is energy that's being taken away from you. Remember, I just said your time is really valuable. Your energy is also really valuable. So if you're investing it into people that you're not going to grow any sort of relationship with in the future, and this is not going to end up going anywhere, you are wasting time and you are wasting energy. Very, very important and powerful. Two things you should never, ever, ever want to waste, because you have a finite amount of time and you only have 100% of your energy. And what I mean by you only have 100% of your energy, that means the pie chart doesn't go past 100%. Once you max out the amount of energy you have to give to either you or other things or other people, it's done. Meaning any amount of energy put into someone else is subsequently also energy being taken away from you. It's part of the reason why for some of you, the moment that you get out of a toxic relationship and you actually work through it, that's when you start to feel your best emotionally. And that's when you start to feel your most powerful self. Because you've taken away energy that you were once investing into someone else who was also actively and purposely draining you of that energy as much as they could, that you were never able to give any of that energy back to yourself. And when you finally let go of that person, you finally had more of that pie chart to be able to give back and invest back into yourself. So I say all that to say hookup culture is going to convince you that your time and your energy is not valuable, to the point where being casual with someone, being friends with someone that you just want to have fun with and just chill with and just relax with actually benefits you when it doesn't benefit you at all. Because you only end up spending a lot of time and a lot of energy on someone that you're not going to build with. Right? That might work for the guys because they get to waste time on you and sleep with you while not committing to you and sleeping with a whole bunch of other people. But it doesn't work for you because in this scenario, in this situation, you are receiving that man. You are going to become attached to that man over time. And eventually you're going to say to yourself, I'm actually looking for more than just this simple fun. Because this is the worst part about hookup culture. Okay? This is the worst part. And I want to be very clear on this, okay? When you become of the belief that the best way for you to go about this is to do as he does. And you invest your time and your energy into him. And he takes that time and energy because that's what he's here to do. That he's happy to do that. He would love to do that. He would love to get time and energy away from you. And you devalue your time and energy that way, right? You only end up losing because at the end of the day, once you give all of that up and you take that away from you, you're left with nothing. And when you're left with nothing, right, you end up prioritizing even more so those men in which you're sleeping with. Why? Because now that you've invested less of your time and energy into yourself and you've given that into someone else, you've made it that much harder for you to actually accept that this person either doesn't want you or when they discard of you, that they never cared about you. You can invest a whole bunch of time and energy into someone and not get attached to the amount of time and energy you've invested into that person. If I spend 10 years of my life hooking up with you, having fun with you, how am I supposed to feel when after 10 years of me spending all of this time and energy on you, you then get up one day, right? The guy gets up one day and he says, you know what? This was fun, but now I have a girlfriend and I'm blocking you and I never want you to speak to me again. You're going to be disappointed. You're going to be very disappointed. Why? Because that was a lot of time and energy spent that went nowhere. And see, this is where I'm going to get mad. The problem with hookup culture is they never let you in on the fact that all this time you're spending having fun, having casual pineapples with guys because, you know, we're friends and everything's chill. When it finally comes to an end, you're going to be so discombobulated, disappointed, and upset because you're going to feel like that time was wasted. But in reality, you should have came to the realization that you're wasting time while you were wasting the time. See, hookup culture never talks to you about the fact that the hookups eventually end. And you have to keep building new friendships with new guys to keep hooking up with new guys and having casual fun. Because for one reason or another, the casual fun eventually stops being casual fun. So when that happens, you end up saying to yourself, well, that was time and energy wasted because I have nothing to show for it. Not a relationship, not anyone that cares about me, not even any love or affection really. Aside from him jackrabbiting himself inside of me for 90 seconds, all I have is a couple of Snapchat memories on my phone and maybe an STI. But I don't really have anything else to show for the casual friendship. I spent a whole bunch of time, I spent a whole bunch of energy, and I don't have anything left over to show for it. Okay? I want all of you, Melita said, stop with the fake friendships. That is one of the things that I actually want to discuss with you all, right? So we talked about if I was a boy was number 1. Number 2 was cultural pressure. Number 3, hook up culture. Now number 4 is the can't beat 'em, join 'em mentality. Okay? This mentality is going to plague you, and Melita just brought it up before I could even bring it up. Stop with the fake friendships. Listen to me very closely. Listen to me very closely. These guys are not your friends. Oh God, this is going to make me mad. I just need you to breathe this in and breathe it out. These guys that are sleeping with you casually are not your friends. I know that you want to believe in the idea that we all hold hands and sing Kumbaya, and because he finds you, he thinks you're so cool, right? He thinks you're such a cool girl. That's why he hangs out with you. That's why you guys watch Netflix together. That's why he gets you to jack him off. That's why he asks you dirty questions so he can wank himself on video chat and over text message. It's because you're so cool and because your friendship is so that's why that's happening. I need you to accept the fact that these guys aren't your friends. And I need you to stop wasting your time on fake friendships. Truthfully. A guy that wants to hook up with you is not your friend. Okay? And a guy that would hook up with you given the opportunity is not your friend. Okay? I just need you to I need you to just rid yourself of that mindset so that you can properly allocate your time in places that actually matter. You will end up wasting so much time thinking that you're friends with a guy that you're hooking up with, only to realize down the line he was friends with you to get access to you. And once that stopped being convenient, whether it be because he found a new girl, or for some of you he had a girlfriend, or for some of you whatever the situation might be, that the friendship no longer served him, he will move on with his life. And he will not give a damn about the fact that you feel like you wasted a whole bunch of time and energy on him. And the reason I know that is not because I'm talking out of my butt, is because I literally see it from a lot of you, especially those of you in the Discord, okay? Because we're going to hop into the Discord in a second. Make sure you send in your questions, okay? For those of you in the Discord that talk about, oh, this whole time, he wasn't even prepared to build anything with me or for this to go anywhere. Why didn't he let me know that he didn't want this to go anywhere? Why didn't he just tell me that he only wanted nothing more than to be just friends? Why didn't he let me know that I was literally just a squirtle to him for him to jackrabbit himself inside of me, that he didn't care about me aside from that? How did he switch up from being such a caring friend to me, and then after he realized he couldn't get any more squirtle from me, now all of a sudden he doesn't even speak to me? I feel hurt. I feel lied to. I feel deceived. And I love you so much, which is why I try to explain to you, he never was invested in being your friend. Stop trying to take guys who you want to casually have fun with because you might not be ready for a relationship and turn them into your friend that you hook up with. And also stop trying to go from being romantic with someone, realizing that they don't properly invest in you or invest the right amount of effort into you, and then saying, oh, I can't beat you at this game that you're playing on me, so I'm just going to join you by accepting this idea that we'll be casual friends and we'll just kind of do a thing where we hook up with each other. Okay? This is what the can't beat 'em, join 'em mindset is. Because when a guy approaches you, and let's say you guys, I'll give you a perfect example of can't beat 'em, join 'em. Okay? Let's say you're going out on 4 to 5 dates with a guy. You like him, things are going well. This is maybe about 2 months-ish of you going out on dates with him and things are going pretty good. You're really starting to invest yourself in this guy and you like this guy. Then after around the 5th date, you notice that he's not texting you as much. And you're kind of like, that's kind of strange. He used to text me all the time. Now sometimes he'll go a whole day without messaging me. And then after a week of that, he starts to go multiple days without messaging you. And you're thinking, what's going on? He used to message me all the time. Now he rarely messages you. Starts to go a couple of days without messaging me. And even when he does message me, he doesn't seem to have anything to say about us meeting up or going out on any dates. He used to mention dates all the time. Now all of a sudden, he never mentions dates. What's going on? And then by the 3rd week, you're realizing that you guys haven't gone out on a date in 3 weeks, and he barely even talks to you, and he barely even messages you, and he definitely doesn't call you anymore, right? And so in that process, after a while, you start accepting the fact that, you know what? I just don't think that you are showing me that you're interested in me or showing me what I'm looking for. But instead of saying to yourself, okay, if you've shown me that you're not who I'm looking for, or you've shown me that this isn't going to work out, or you've shown me that you can't be the man that I desire to have in a relationship, rather than saying that and then saying, okay, since you've shown me that, I'm going to cut you off now. Instead, you say, I guess since you're not showing me that you're ready to be a boyfriend, I guess we can downgrade this to us just being friends. And I guess we can casually hang out when me and you both have time. That way, I don't have so many expectations of you, but that way also, I don't actually have to cut you off. And if I do want to still have fun with you or do want to still spend some casual time with you, I can still casually spend some time with you. So you try to get ahead of it and join him in on this so you don't feel rejected. You join him in on this by saying, yeah, I thought we were building a romantic thing, but let's just be friends because I don't think it's going to work out in a romantic sense. So now you're joining him, right? Instead, because you can't beat him at his game and you can't get him to actually take this romantic relationship serious. So you're like, let's downgrade this into a friendship where we can still casually see each other and maybe casually sleep with each other. And maybe I can give you a couple of footies, right? And in the process of that, you know, we won't worry about all of the crazy expectations. So now this is your friend, right? Not a friends with benefits, but you guys just have a friendship that's not meant for you guys to hook up. But if you spend enough time over at his place and he makes out with you for long enough and he says the right things to you and you're horned up enough, maybe you might spread your legs wide open and maybe you might let him jackrabbit himself inside of you for 90 seconds. But it's still a friendship. You guys it's still casual friends. You spend time in the friend group. You guys know, you guys share friends. You guys hang out with each other and hang out in groups and it's cool. It's cool. It's not a big deal, not a huge deal, but friends, but sometimes sleep together, but friends still kind of, sort of. And when you adopt the mindset, I can't beat him, so I'll join him. So then we'll just make this a friendship, even though it started off as a romantic thing. But like now we'll just be friends casually. You only end up still emotionally invested in those men, right? Because like I said from the very beginning, you're not a man. That's okay. You have your own set of superpowers that you're amazing at, that you're so good at that the men can never do or never be like. So I want you to accept that you're not like a man and you will never be able to receive a man into you. And while receiving him into you, you'll be able to say, cool, I'm not attached. Cool, I don't care anymore. Okay? I know some of you are fighting against this because you want to believe wholeheartedly, I can sleep with people and not be attached to them. Right? I know that you want to believe in that idea. But I am assuring you it is not true. Okay? And we're going to address this right now. So number 1 was if I was a boy. Number 2, cultural pressure. Number 3, hook up culture. Number 4, can't beat him, join him mentality. Now number 5 is what comes. This is what everything culminates to. And this is why I wanted to explain all of this to you so you can it can be fully impactful to you how this all ends up leading into one small point. Number 5, you end up with romantic regret. I want you to pay very close attention to this when I describe this. Romantic regret is, see, when you start hooking up with a guy casually, you don't realize this, but it can only end up one of 2 ways. The first way it will end up, if you're hooking up with a guy just casually and not in a fully romantic sense with no commitment, it will either end up eventually falling apart because you guys fight, you guys disagree, there's misunderstandings, and eventually this thing just doesn't end up working out. So eventually you break up, quote unquote, right? So that's scenario number 1. Scenario number 2 is that this goes on for a period of time. And as it continues to go on for a period of time, you end up becoming invested in this and you're enjoying yourself so much because remember, you're sleeping with him, right? You're spending time with him, right? And you're investing yourself emotionally and physically into this person and into this relationship, if you want to call it a friendship, this friendship. So because, like I said, this experience is so emotional for you, and because you're enjoying it, right? He's got great D game, right? He's so fun to hang around with, and you enjoy spending your time with him. So as this is going on for months and months and months, you end up saying to yourself, gee, I actually really like spending time with you. And I actually really like you. I like the way we laugh. I like the way our relationship is. I like the way we have fun. I like the way we, joke around. I like you. And so what ends up happening is, despite the fact that this was meant to be casual initially, you end up saying to yourself, well, I know that it was supposed to be casual, But I just feel like you don't really treat me like a girl that you really like. I feel like sometimes you kind of discard me, or you don't treat me like a priority. And see, once you start thinking like that, it's over. It's over. Because the reality, I get so mad because I want you to never forget. No human being on this earth feels good when they feel like they're a second-class citizen to someone else. So all of the convincing you will try to do for yourself to make yourself believe, hey, this is just for casual fun, and I don't care about being his girlfriend. I don't care about getting treated like a girlfriend. I'm just here to enjoy myself and have fun. At the end of the day, if another girl comes into his life and he replaces you with her, and you start seeing him spend his time with her, taking her out on dates, buying her gifts, saying sweet things to her, texting her while you're with him, you're going to end up feeling hurt by that. That's going to end up touching your soul and touching your spirit. Why? Because like I mentioned earlier in the show, you have invested so much time and so much energy in that human being. When you invest that much time and energy into another human being, only to realize that they don't take you as seriously or treat you as much of a priority as you have been treating them, you will always feel horribly about that. Always. It is not a response you can control. You will always feel disappointment in investing time and energy into someone that you made a priority in your life, that is not making you a priority in your life and is actively replacing you with someone else who they treat better than you. It makes me so mad because every single one of you that adopt the mindset that, hey, it's not going to be me. I'm above the system. I'm on a different level and I won't get hurt by this. I'm going to be able to have my fun. Even if you have your fun, eventually you say to yourself, this is so much fun that I want this to be more than just fun. I can't help. I need to hammer this into your brain. Either the relationship ends, right? Like it cuts off and you never speak to him again. Or you say to yourself, I'm having so much fun, which is why you continue doing it, right? Because you're not going to continue doing it if you're not enjoying yourself. So as you enjoy yourself and you enjoy the human being, you continue doing it because you're having fun doing it. But the more fun you have, the more you want to continue doing it. And eventually you say to yourself, I don't just want this to be fun. I want this because I'm having so much fun with you and I'm enjoying my time so much with you. I want to have more than just casual fun with you. I want to have commitment with you. But see, the problem is, and this is where you have the romantic regret, because after you spent all of this time acknowledging that you're just like the guys, you're so different, you're so chill, you don't get attached, you can be friends, you can be casual and hook up, and it doesn't matter, and nothing matters, and nothing's that deep. After you spent months and even in some cases, years of your life convincing yourself that that is how you are and that is what you're willing to deal with, when you come out of nowhere and you say, hey, I know it's been 5 years of us being casual with each other, and I know we've been having so much fun, but do you ever think that maybe you want to have more than just fun with me? And then he says to you, whoa, whoa, whoa. This was only supposed to be fun. When did you start catching feelings? I'm not invested in this, and I'm not here for us to be in a relationship. I thought you knew that. I thought that's why you were here too. So then what happens to you? You start to feel like you're going crazy. You start to feel like you're going crazy because this is where the traumatization happens, because you actually have you've done this to yourself. You've put yourself in a situation where you feel uncomfortable with where the relationship is and what it stands as, but you've also put yourself simultaneously in a situation where you can't speak up for yourself because you're supposed to be okay with where the relationship or the friendship is at that moment. And because of the fact that you've established that this is what you're okay with and this is what you're comfortable with, now you feel like you can't speak up for yourself when you want something more. And you also feel uncomfortable on addressing any of the issues you might have in the friendship because you're supposed to be just friends. So you're not supposed to have a problem with the fact that he dates other girls. You're not supposed to have a problem with the fact that he's sleeping with other women. You're not supposed to have a problem with the fact that he's literally making another woman his girlfriend instead of you. Why? Because you were always only supposed to be here for the friendship and the fun. So you end up traumatized because you have issues and you have problems that you need to express, but you literally cannot express them. You don't feel comfortable expressing them, and none of your feelings are validated even when you express them. You have now traumatized yourself because you cannot even get out the emotions that you have within you, because you have put yourself in a position where you're not allowed to express those emotions. Voila. You're a magician. You're like David Blaine. And you have just like that, just like magic, you have traumatized yourself. Congratulations. You see how that works, right? And I needed to say all that to get to that point, because I feel like a lot of times we forget the idea that it can only end up one of the two ways. Either it ends completely and you never speak to that guy, which ends up being a waste of your time, or you get to the point where you say to yourself, I want more than to just have fun because I've been having so much fun. And then by the time you say, I want more than to just have fun, he says to you, but you said you were okay with just having fun. And now that you're switching it up, that's not what I'm here for. You're supposed to be the fun, chill girl. You can't address things if you're the fun, chill girl. You can't have a problem with things if you're the fun, chill girl. You can't have an issue with me dating another girl and making another girl my girlfriend if you're the fun, chill girl. What happened to you being fun and chill? That's when you start glitching, you start having error codes because you have all of these emotions and feelings inside you that you feel like you actively can't get out and you actively can't express because you're trying your best to be fun and chill. And I'm telling you all of this not because I think that I'm better than you, or I think that, I know best because I'm just so smart and so amazing. I'm actually telling you this because I've made this mistake myself. I've actually made the mistake myself, even as a guy, of thinking that the best way to go about my life is to be fun and chill and casual all the time with everyone. To the point where I finally found someone that I actually felt that I was having so much fun with that I wanted this relationship to go further with. But at that point, we had made so many mistakes in the relationship, right? Because it was supposed to be fun and chill, that we actually made it so much harder to build a real romantic relationship off of that because we spent so much time trying to be fun and chill. Whereas if I would have just accepted that the only people I'm going to have in my life are people who I'm actually going to be investing in the long term, I would have went in with that mindset, set those boundaries, standards, and expectations from the very beginning, and not had an issue down the road. So I'm saying that not because I'm better than you, but I'm saying that because I've also made the mistake myself of not realizing that it only ends up one of two ways and actually ending up with someone that I wanted things to go further with and build off of, right? Only to realize that I made a whole bunch of mistakes and we made a whole bunch of mistakes in our relationship before that point, to the point where it made it virtually impossible for us to now be in a relationship. I want you to take that advice with you and take this conversation with you so you can start rethinking the idea of being casual friends and casually hooking up with people just for fun and just for poops and giggles, and start realizing that your time is valuable, your time is important. And also, if you're going to end up in a situation with someone that you actually enjoy spending your time and energy on, then you better make sure that from the very beginning, you establish what you're here for so there's not a whole bunch of confusion down the road. Because I will warn you, don't forget this, replay this every time you watch the show. I never want you to forget this. I will warn you, the worst thing you can possibly do is find yourself in a situation with someone you actually want to build with now. But because of the mistakes you made by not setting the standards and expectations before, you make it virtually impossible to now build a relationship off of that. That will be the absolute worst feeling you can have, because now you'll feel like that was the right person, but this timing was wrong. When in fact, it could have been the right person, but because you didn't set boundaries and expectations from the very beginning, you've created a jumbled up mess that can't be recovered. Because the worst thing you can do is make mistakes that are unrecoverable, or do things in the friendship that are unrecoverable. Because you can never go back in a time machine and fix those things. You never can. You can never undo the things that you say or you do with a person, or you do without that person or to that person when you guys were friends. So never forget, any trauma that you endure with that friend is going to be the same trauma that you take in with you and that person into a relationship. So if you don't want to start a relationship with a whole bunch of extra unnecessary trauma, then you'll start thinking about how you can be straightforward with your relationships and the people that you spend your time and energy on, so that you don't make the mistake of falling victim to being in a friendship with someone that you want to build with. But now that you want to build with them, you don't know how to go about that because you spent so much time accepting that this is supposed to be only a friendship. Okay, I don't want that for you. Now, do you guys have, sorry, I'm just looking at something. Do you guys have any questions about what we just discussed today? I want you to ask them in the chat. Anything about what we just discussed today about casual pineapples? I'm going to go grab my water bottle. Okay. Give me a second. Oh, it's not. Nice. My water bottle's in my gym bag. No water for me. Okay, never mind. All right. Stella says, is it recoverable? Listen, okay, I'm going to let you guys in on some. You're not going to like this. It is recoverable because nothing's impossible. But I want you to understand I sad for you. Once you establish this in your relationships, it's very, very hard to recover from, especially for you, the woman. See, when guys come in your life with the understanding that they can get access to you for free, being casual, not committing to you, and then you try to flip the script on them and say, hey, I know I said we can be casual and just be friends. And you say, well, now I want to be more than friends, or now I'm not okay with just being friends. A lot of you are going to be disappointed because the guys are going to say, oh, cool. You want to be more than friends? I'm not here for that. So peace out. I'm going to go do something else with someone who will let me sleep with her for free. I'm not going to invest in you. I never intended to invest in you. In fact, I was only here to get free things from you. You ever signed up for a free trial that you knew you were going to cancel before the free trial was over? Because when it's free, you're like, cool, I'll take it. It's free. But by the time they ask you to pay for that subscription, you're like, no, but I'm not actually going to pay for the subscription. But since you offered it for free, I'll take it for free. And so some of you will end up finding yourself in a situation where the guys are taking you for free because you're offering yourself for free. But then the moment you say, I want you to pay a premium subscription, they say, I'm not here to pay a premium subscription. I was only here to get the free trial. Okay. Right. Electric Feel says in the YouTube chat, she just donated here. Let's see what Electric Feel says. Electric Feel says, you need your water for the Discord because your tears, you're going to cry. That's very true. Should I go get my water, guys? It's all the way upstairs in my gym bag. How could I forget my water? Okay. I really should get my water. Linda says the confusion is real. I lost my true love. Right? I agree, and this is the thing. Like I said, I'm telling you guys this because I've experienced this myself in making that mistake. And then when you make that mistake, you end up with a jumbled up mess that you just can't figure out now because of all the things that have transpired when you were friends. You guys said go get the water. Okay, thank you. I go get the water. I'll be right back. All right. I'm back now. There we go. Okay. So I had to go grab the water. I ran. Did I answer Electric Field's question here? Let me make sure I answer that. Okay, let's see here. Electric Field said, oh yeah, thank you. So you donated that for the water. I forgot that you said that about the water. Thank you for donating and reminding me to go get water. I appreciate that. Why is that there? Chat summary. Why is that like that? What the heck? Okay, there we go. All right, so Lifestyle donates $5. Lifestyle says, how do men view... Let me even click it here. She says, how do... this is so annoying. How do men view when they are only giving you oral pineapples and still taking you out on dates? They're giving you oral pineapples? It's all so okay. Actually, this is a really important point that I want you guys to not forget, because I've actually seen this a couple times in the chat now, and I want to address this because it's concerning to me. There's nothing wrong with kissing, okay, or cuddling, but I do want you guys to be aware whether or not you're giving him head, or he's giving you head, or you're giving him a footy, or he's got his fingers inside you, or whatever. Those still represent the same idea, because even if he's not sleeping with you, he still feels like he's about to sleep with you very early on if he's doing that. So what I mean by that is, if he, I'm going to be graphic a little bit. If he eats you out on the first date, he's going to feel like on the second date, he's going to sleep with you. Right? It's going to do the same thing for him, where he's going to be hyper fixated on sleeping with you because he's thinking he's getting pineapple related favors from you, or pineapple related energy from you very early on. And he's capable of sealing the deal and sleeping with you very early on. So I say all that to say the worst mistake you can make in your situations and in your the guys that you're dating or you're talking to, listen, anytime, just think of it like this. Anytime you're taking off your pants or taking off your shirt, it's not a good sign, okay? Or anytime he's taking off his pants or taking off his shirt, it's not a good sign. Let's keep the shirts on, keep the pants on, okay? Wear your tightest pair of jeans so you can't even take them off, okay? You definitely should not be taking off your pants. If you're taking off your pants, you're making a huge mistake. And he should not be taking off his either. Okay, so at least let's start there so that you guys can have in your mind what solid rules to follow, okay? Gigi said, what if it's over the clothes? You're a fiend then. Then you just need the toy and you're a fiend then. Please. You guys need some self-control. No taking off of the clothes. But in all seriousness, guys, like when it comes to stuff like that, Don't put yourself in a position, because also not even just the fact that he feels like he's getting something from you is bad, but also think about how crazy you're putting yourself in temptation's way. And this is part of the problem with the whole casual thing, is because you start to have a casual mindset where you think everything is not a big deal. So you think to yourself, oh, I won't sleep with you, but opening my legs and allowing you to eat me out, that's not a big deal, because that's not us actually sleeping together. But lo and behold, if he goes down there and he puts his whole face in it, and now all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, I didn't even know that someone could do that. How do you make your tongue move like that? And then you're losing your mind. What do you think you're going to say when he says, can I put it in? You're going to say, yes, you can put it in, because now you're so worked up. You're literally putting yourself on temptation's island. So what do you expect the outcome to be, right? You're going to eventually give in to temptation. It's just such a silly thing to do. You're going into it thinking it's not a big deal. Then when you're super horned up, you're super lubricated, and you're now seeing color and all this stuff. And now you're like, oh, well, I mean, now that the way I feel now, I might reconsider. Maybe we can sleep together. Then you sleep together, and then you realize afterwards that it was a mistake. But like, the way you help yourself is not by saying, oh, eating me out's not a big deal, I just won't sleep with you. The way you help yourself is by not even taking off your pants in the first place, right? And the way you help yourself is by not even going over to his place in the first place, okay? Because a lot of you, I hate to say it, but for some of you, you don't even have enough self-control to be at his place and drink wine. Because once you go to his place and you drink wine, the wine literally goes straight to your squirtle, and you're super lubricated, and now you can't think straight. Okay. So for those of you that know that you're like that, there's nothing wrong with you, but you have to accept that that's you, so that you can avoid putting yourself in that situation. Okay. If you drink wine and it goes straight to between your legs, don't even bother going to his place and drinking wine. Just don't even bother. What's the point? Whether it's a Pinot Grigio, whether it's a Riesling, Cabernet, whatever it is, a Nejo, whatever. Don't go over to his place if you know you have that problem. If you know that when you make out with people, this is the other thing that I want you guys to be aware of. If you know that when you make out with people and you start tongue kissing people and it gets you super lubricated and horned up, and you start losing your mind a little bit, if the person you're kissing can really kiss, don't even bother. Okay. And I'm actually not joking, because you have to be aware of the ways that you'll say, oh, it's not a big deal, we're just friends, it's just chill. And then eventually you end up sleeping with him after realizing that this was like a gateway drug to get your guard down. And now that you're super horned up and you can't think straight, you're making bad decisions. Okay. Another mistake. And I don't want you guys making constant mistakes. Okay. I know this because I've used all of these techniques, okay? It's really just about, as a guy, you have to understand the smart guys, the intelligent guys, when they approach you, they're just going to try to understand what is your trigger point, right? So for you, what is your pineapple related trigger point? And if I can trigger that, then that's how I actually get access to you. So if your trigger point is guys tongue kissing you, then I just do that really well. If your trigger point is getting yourself ate out, then just do that really well. Whatever your trigger point is and your gateway drug is, when a guy is smart enough to detect that, he just does that, you're weak, and then you give in. Okay? I'll just let you in on a little secret there. Okay? That's a little secret. Holistic says, that's me too. That's a reason I don't drink. I don't drink either. Not for that reason. For a plethora of other reasons, but yes. If you know that that's you, and when you drink a little bit of wine, or for some of you, it might be when you smoke a little bit of weed and you get high, it's for some whatever reason, the joint goes straight to your squirtle and you get lubricated and you can't think straight, please don't even bother going to smoke and chill. Okay. I know a lot of the smokers like to do that. Yo, let's just go in the car. We'll smoke and chill. Yeah, if you know you smoke and you get lubricated, don't even bother going over with him to smoke and chill. Don't even do that, okay? Electric Field says 3 martinis and a joint and I'll lay down. See, that's the thing. And it doesn't, like I say, it doesn't make you all bad people. We all have our own individual things that make us emotionally weak. That's fine. But the best thing for you to do is identify the things that make you emotionally weak so that you can avoid them when you're trying to gain your respect. Okay? right? There's nothing wrong with having urges, but you want to be respected in that relationship, and you don't want to just seem as if you're someone who can be gotten easy. We don't want that for you. So if you want to gain your respect, you're thinking long term, right? And if you're thinking long term, you can't let in the moment you sabotage long-term you. Your long-term happiness is having him respect you and treat you right and treat this relationship right? Your short-term happiness is spreading your legs wide open and getting yourself penetrated, okay? But we don't want you to be doing that because you're emotionally weak at that time. It's part of the reason why I always tell you guys, go and get that Tracy's dog toy. I know it has a weird name, but trust me, it will change your life. It's in the link in my description on YouTube, and it's in the link in my bio if you're on TikTok. Just go over there and you go over to where it says affiliate links, and then you'll see the 3 options for the toys. And no matter what type of girl you are, whether you're a penetration girl or you're a clit girl, it will do you right. And I honestly mean that. It's not meant to be a joke. I literally made that toy an affiliate link so that you can get a discount on it, because I know that's one of the things that you can use to satisfy yourself. So when you go out on a date, you're not so horned up that you can't think straight. Okay? We don't want you so horned up that you can't think straight and you can't be logical or rational and you're making mistakes. Lida said, but what do you think about the idea of everything in a friendship come to my concert? You're talking about from yesterday? Do you mean by that like that, you grow a relationship from a friendship? This is where I want to be very specific, and I'm glad you asked that, if that's what you meant to ask. Is that you have to understand that, yes, in a magical teen drama, a beautiful relationship grows from a natural friendship. But here's the thing. Maybe it's just because of my own experience. So maybe I might have no idea what I'm talking about. But for me, in my own experience, whenever you try to build a relationship from a friendship, thinking that let's be friends first and then go into the relationship, the lack of boundaries and standards that aren't set because you're friends always ends up messing things up for the relationship. Because when you're friends, different things are acceptable and appropriate than when you become romantic with each other. When you're going out on a date with someone, if you go out on a date with someone and they tell you how they literally yesterday were with a different girl and they slept with that girl and they had a really good time with that girl, you're going to be like, what the hell are you talking about? That's inappropriate. We can't talk if you're going to be doing that. But see, the thing is, when you're friends and that guy goes out to eat with you because you're friends, but you kind of have feelings for him, and he tells you how last night he slept with this girl and how amazing it was and how he jackrabbited himself inside of her for 91 seconds this time instead of 90, and he busted a nut inside of her, you're thinking to yourself, this MFer is telling me he was with another girl last week and he slept with her and he busted a nut inside her. I'm gonna put a knife through this man's heart. I'm gonna put a knife through this man's heart. And you're thinking that inside. Meanwhile, on the outside, you're having to act chill, like you're unbothered. But do you see how very, very easily you're gonna put yourself in a position where you're not able to express things and you're not able to feel the things that you're feeling because we're friends and this is a friendship. So now when you're literally confused, should I address it? Should I not address it? Your feelings get held inside. Then you start glitching. You start having error codes. You start saying things and blurting things out that you didn't want to say. You start being weird. You start acting weird. He starts acting weird. Everything's weird. Now the friendship is all weird now. Okay? Rather than just starting off from the beginning, hey, I actually find you kind of interesting. Hey, I actually think that, this could go somewhere and I want us to explore. I don't want you to say that, but I'm just saying, bringing the mentality that I'm only here to build a romantic relationship with you. I'm not here to just be casual friends with you. I already have enough casual friends, okay? I want to stop you all. I know this sounds horribly, but I want to stop you all from looking for casual friends with guys. Okay? Because guys, I'll just be honest with you, aren't looking for casual friends with you. They might convince you of that because it benefits them for them to be casual friends with you, and they can get something from you if you're a pretty girl, right? But I can assure you, the girls that are super unattractive, are super disgusting and super ugly, I can assure you no guys ever go up to them saying, hey, I would love to just be your friend. Okay. I know that sounds superficial and mean, but the reality of it is guys aren't doing that for girls they don't find attractive. Right? The guys that are so, oh my God, your friendship is so important to me. Yeah, because you got a dump truck. That's why the friendship's important. Yep, you got yitties. The friendship's important now. Yep, you look like like a supermodel. The friendship's important now. I have to be honest with you. If I'm not honest with you, then I'm not really helping you. Okay? Right? I'm not saying that you're not a good person and you don't have a lot of personality behind your dump truck or your amazing yitties. But at the end of the day, guys don't just want to be your friend because of friendship. Just don't be silly. Okay? Don't be silly. And you also shouldn't be wasting your time being friends with guys that you actually want to build something with. Don't be silly. Don't be silly. I love you, which is why I'm telling you this. Okay? So, with that being said, it is time. Tell me in the chat what time it is. I want to know what time it is in the chat. Tell me right now. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is in the chat now. Tell me what time it is. I want to know what time it is in the chat now. Go on, tell me what time it is. I want to know what time it is in the chat now. Please tell me what time it is. I want to know what time it is in the chat. And in the chat now, tell me what time is it. In the chat now, what time is it? In the chat now, tell me what time is it. In the chat now, what time is it? I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to know what time it is. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. I want to know what time it is. I want to know. Okay. Okay, chat. I'm gonna lose my voice yelling like that. It's a great time of day. We're gonna hop into the Discord here. I know some of you are confused. Don't be confused. Confusion is good, and you'll learn a lot of things in confusion. Discord time is essentially where me and all the other beautiful members of the Players Club get to hop into the Discord and we answer your questions. Yes, you members watching the show and members of the Discord, we answer your questions in our Discord community. It's the Players Club community. Okay, so you can do this one of two ways. You can ask your question in the regular relationship advice section if you want to ask your question and get me to answer it live on the show. Now, I'll warn you, that section is for relationship advice premium. Sorry. I warn you that the free relationship advice section has over 100 questions in it. So it's going to be first come, first serve, and I have hundreds of questions I still have to get to before I can get to any one of you that ask a question today. However, there's a second option for you where you can ask a question in Relationship Advice Premium right over here on the right. You guys can't see it on TikTok, but over here on the left side of the screen. And when you do that, you get to skip the line. It's like being at a theme park where you get to, you get to buy a VIP pass, you get to skip the line. And I answer your question on first before I go to the free section. Now, in order to get access to the Relationship Advice Premium section, you must first donate to the show in order to get access to that and verify that that's you. Now, the way that you do that is by going on to the link in my description, okay? And when you go onto the link in my description, you'll be able to see where it says Premium Relationship Advice section. And when you go on the Premium Relationship Advice section, you donate to the show. And then in your message, when you donate to the show, you just put in your username And the title of your question, just if you haven't made the question yet, you can just guesstimate what your title will be. And I can see that here. That way, when I look on my phone, I can verify that that's you. And when I verify that that's you, I know that you actually donated to the show before putting your question in here. So all of these people have donated to the show, which is why they're in Relationship Advice Premium. If you don't care that much and you don't care when your question gets answered, you can put it in the free section and you don't have to donate to the show. It's just so that you have options, okay? This was Kiki from yesterday. Kiki said that that he asked you out. So Kiki actually, and I want you guys to be aware, okay? I want to make this very clear. Kiki donated separate times for separate questions, which is exactly how I want you guys to be doing it, because I know some of you have multiple questions, but I also want to be fair to others that if you donate to the show once, that doesn't mean that you get to ask a whole bunch of repeated questions and just never have to donate again, right? It's a donation per question. So if you want to ask multiple questions, you can, but if you're going to be in Relationship Advice Premium, it has to be fair to the others, and you're going to have to donate again the same way, okay? Just so that it's fair to everyone else. I don't want to create a system that is unfair to other people who aren't donating to the show or just want to have a regular question, okay? So this was an update from Kiki, okay? Kiki says, you got to go back to yesterday's show if you don't know where it stems from. We're meeting in a bar for the second date. How do I act? Thank you for yesterday's advice. Recap if you don't remember for me, for the new girls. Wow. So you're actually thinking of all of us. Thank you so much, Kiki. Had one date with the guy 4 weeks ago. One small kiss, no pineapples. After I acted stupidly from anxiety, I asked him when is our next date, told him my availability, accepted pineapple-y texting, no nudes, but I sent him one bikini pic. This is a perfect recap. You're awesome. You're awesome. Can you come back all the time? When I asked what he's looking for, he said something more than casual, but doesn't want to rush into anything serious. You said it's a classic line for hookups. For the last 2 weeks, he gave access. I said access. He gave excuses why he couldn't meet. Finally, yesterday, asked me out for this Saturday. He picked a nice bar in my area. He'd definitely be expecting pineapples because of how I acted and accepted his naughty texting behavior. Main question, how do I act on the second date after all my previous desperation? Guess I'll be focusing on extracting information, but any tips on rebuilding respect in his eyes? I want his perception about me to change, even if it doesn't work out. My pride is hurt because I was acting like an idiot. Shall I ask deep questions or maybe ask again what he's looking for and elaborate on his meaning of something more than casual? Or say that pineapple texting was out of character for me because I haven't had pineapples since last year. Or if he pushes for pineapples, say I led him on, what do I reply? I will dress classy and leave after 1.5 to 2 hours, no pineapples, then see how he acts after the second date by doing nothing. Good idea? You're starting to think now. You're getting a good idea now, okay? I like him, but maybe I should just cancel if I already ruined my perception in his eyes. P.S. Some of my girlfriends, I told some of my girlfriends about your channel, and they're dying to ask questions about their situations too, but they're scared that the live streams are saved for the public views. And what if someone they know sees it and recognizes their situations? Maybe an idea for the future, only private streams for premium users, as you'll be the next dating star for sure, and all our history videos will get millions of views. That'll be interesting, actually. I guess that's kind of true. You know what? If you guys really want it, I can try and figure out another way to deliver to you guys answers in a format that might not be like this. So it won't be like for everyone's consumption, but I'll still be able to like work through all of your questions and things like that. I'd have to figure out that system. But if you guys really want that, also that option to maybe be able to have like premium questions, but they're like private type of thing, I can also give you guys that option as well. But I would have to definitely, give me some time. I'd have to figure out how that would work. Okay. So Kiki, to answer your question, I think the best thing for you to do is when you go out on this date, like you mentioned, you want to be focused on extracting information because right now you don't really have a lot of information. In your previous message, you mentioned how when you asked him what he's looking for, he basically responded with, yeah, I'm looking for someone, something more than casual, but he also said that he's not ready for a relationship, right? So that's very confusing. So what I want you specifically to do, because people find it difficult to be able to just describe to you exactly how they feel, you can infer how they feel by hearing their mindset or approach towards other things. So the two very most important things I want you to ask about is I want you to ask about his own current life, meaning like what is he doing now for himself? Where does he see himself in the future? And like what are his plans for his life? This is very important because this will let you in on whether or not he has any sort of direction. If in the process of you asking him about his career, his passions, what he's doing in his life, where he wants to be in the next 5 years, you start to get the idea that he doesn't really have any particular direction that he wants to go in. Right? He's just kind of aimlessly like, you know what? I like some things. I like other things. I'm interested in this, but I'm also interested in that, but I'm not really sure where I want to be in my future. That keys you in on the fact that he has yet to figure out what direction he wants to go in for his own life. And if he has yet to figure out what direction he wants to go in for his own life, then how on earth is he ever supposed to know what direction he wants to go in his relationship? So that's giving you a clue into his mindset. So you know when he answers that question about his life or where he wants to be in his life, you know that that question indirectly relates to how he's going to approach his relationship with you. Vice versa, if he seems like he's really structured and has a lot of focus on where he wants to be and how he wants things to go, then you know at the very least he has direction and focus in his own life, so he can bring some of that direction and focus hopefully into his life with you. Okay, that's at least a good sign. It's not a guarantee. It's a better sign, though, to try to get an understanding of his mindset. The second really key piece of information you need to be extracting is his previous relationship and why his previous relationship didn't work out. Also, I would like you to ask the side question of where they stand now. That's just so you can have that information. But most importantly, why it ended. Because if you start to notice similar themes, because you've had some experience with him now, in the fact that he gets busy, he kind of disappears on you for a period of time, and things like that. So in the process of you asking him questions about his most recent relationship, if you start to notice patterns in the way that he's describing why his last relationship ended or what he contributed to his last relationship ending was, and how he's been treating you, then you know this is something that you're going to have to expect in your relationship with them. So if he's telling you things about his last relationship and you're saying to yourself, oh, I've been experiencing that in smaller doses with you, then you know this is a pattern of behavior. Now you know, am I ready to deal with that? If this is something that I can't work with or isn't going to work for me in a relationship with me, then I already know, then you're probably not what I'm looking for. Right? And you're probably not in line with the type of guy that I can even, build a relationship with, because this is clearly who you are. And I can't expect you to just change overnight like that. I should actually expect you to be the same person that you were in your previous relationship. So maybe there was something that didn't work for her that could work for me, but maybe there was something that didn't work for her that also doesn't work for me. So you have to start thinking about that and analyzing his behavior alongside with how he's telling you his experience was with his last relationship to kind of see to yourself, well, is who you are going to work for me in a relationship with me? Because if it's not, then you're wasting your time continuing this relationship, right? So those are the kind of things that you need to be extracting. And like you said, keep it 1.5 to 2 hours. Don't extend it. Don't say yes to going over to his house, because I guarantee you, if he's having a good time, and especially if you're enchanting him by making him feel like he's the most interesting man on this planet and getting him to tell you a whole bunch of stuff, then he's definitely going to want to say, let's continue this night. I want you to cut it short, because remember, you have more dates to go. This isn't the last date for the rest of your life. So leave him wanting more of you by cutting the date short, no matter what you have to say to get out of there, so that he can leave the date saying, when can I see you next? Instead of leaving a 6 or 7 hour date with you saying, cool, I don't need to see you again for the next, couple of weeks type of thing. You don't want that, right? The third and most important thing is, I do not want you mentioning, first of all, you're not going to be talking about yourself, okay? So you don't need to be yapping. Keep it vague, keep it short, make it seem like you're so interested in him and everything you want to know about him, because you're extracting information. And then the third thing I want you doing is making it, I want you, anytime that he tries to bring up having pineapples, I don't want you to jump out the window and say, I made a mistake by having conversation with you about that. I want you to say, I'm not looking for someone who's just cheaply and let me rephrase that. I want you to shut it down, okay? And redirect the conversation back into extracting information from him. Okay, so you're going to shut it down, not in a way by telling him, I'm not here to talk about pineapples. I want you to redirect it back into getting to know him and try to understand him better emotionally. Now, I want you to use the fact that whether or not he's continuously asking you about pineapples and talking about that, use that as your answer to what he's looking for. Okay, I was going to say tell him and address him this particular way, but at the end of the day, he's just going to adjust himself for what he thinks you want so he can sleep with you. And I don't want that. I would rather use his actions to absorb that information and use that as your evidence of who he is. So if you sense that, once again, I want you to bank that information and acknowledge that he's likely here just to sleep with you. Because I already think that based on how he's been texting you, but maybe he could turn it around on this date. But if you're getting the sense that that's what he's here for still after the next couple of dates, then you're going to have to make a decision and say to yourself, I can't sleep with someone that I know as soon as I sleep with you, you're just going to disappear because that's all you were here for. Okay. Someone says, Deb says, lead the convo. Yes, you lead the convo by steering it in the direction that you want. You only have 2 hours here on this date. It doesn't benefit you to spend that 2 hours yapping with him about, sleeping with him and spreading your legs wide open and how tight your jeans are and how great your dump truck looks. That time spent doesn't benefit you talking about that. It's better spent in you sitting back and asking him questions and gathering information about him. Right? Does that make sense? Tamara says, I want to tell this to a guy, but it's not a good idea. I agree. See, that was why I said I have to rephrase, because telling him exactly what you want from him and expect from him is never a good idea, because they just start to think to themselves, okay, if I actually want to extract something from you, then let me just do what you said how you want me to act and pretend like that's me. So then you can like me and then I can sleep with you type of thing. So it's better for you to just absorb him and ask him questions from a non-judgmental standpoint and then see if he's actually what you're looking for type of thing. Okay. So next we have here Mary. Let me just do a quick check on Mary here. Make sure. I like to make this fair for all of you. Okay, so next we have Mary. Mary says, did I mess it up, Tomisin? I'm the bad one here? I'm a single 21-year-old girl from Germany. And at the end of June, I met a somewhat well-known YouTuber, which is 31. It wasn't me, guys. I'm not even 31. I'm 27. Okay, so it wasn't me. She's not talking about me. He has around 200K followers. I recognized him while I was out, but didn't approach him. Later, I checked his Instagram story, saw myself in the background, and ended up replying to his story saying, haha, that's me and my friend. He responded right away, and that's how we started talking. It's important to note that I never intended to contact him because of his fame. In fact, I see it as a negative since I'm not interested in that world. We met up, and he was quieter than I expected. Given how he behaves on Instagram with me and on YouTube, there he is, anything but reserved. Oh, you meant like there on YouTube, he's anything but reserved. The first meeting went well, and we have 2 more times, like 2 more dates. Sorry, we met 2 more times. During the second meeting, he kissed me, and we did some intimate things. On the second date. It wasn't even much because I didn't allow him to actually touch me, but I did touch him. Remember what I told you guys? Anytime you're taking off your shirt or your pants, and if he's taking off his shirt or his pants, it's not a good place for you to be. I advise you to wear your tightest pair of jeans so that it's impossible for you to even take off your pants. Okay? Please. It wasn't even much. Yeah, you didn't allow him to. It didn't lead to pineapples, but it accomplished the same goal because it was the second date and now he's feeling pineapple-y driven. You feel me? You have a man now that's pineapple-y driven because you're giving him the gateway drugs at the very beginning. Not good. And I've made it clear it will never, unless I'm in a relationship with the person. He said he finds that cute. That means he thinks that you're joking. And he thinks you're a joke. Not to be mean to you, but Mary, Mary, you have to understand, perception is everything. I understand that when you say that, you wholeheartedly believe that that is true and that you will never make it easy for a guy to sleep with you. But I need you to understand, when you say that directly after jerking him off or wanking him off or doing whatever you did with him, right? That you said you touched him, giving him a footy, whatever. Once you do that, and then immediately after that, say a man will never get anything from you or sleep with you unless he's in a relationship with you, you literally look like a clown with a big red nose and face paint all over. Because how can you possibly, how can you say that having just given to a man something pineapple related on what is quite literally his second time ever meeting you? It's so frustrating, and I'd honestly, this is the thing. I would almost rather some of you just admit to the fact that you wanted to do it and you did it because you wanted to do it and you felt that that's what you wanted to do at that time. I'd almost rather you guys go about it like that than making it seem like, oh, what you got, you're never going to get again, and no guy's ever going to get anything from me, because it's so contradictory. It literally makes you look like a fool. And then the guys that you're dating or you're seeing, they take you so unseriously that in the future, when you try to set boundaries because of this, they say to themselves, well, I don't need to care or respect this boundary at all. You're a clown. You say a whole bunch of stuff that you're about to do or you're going to do, and then I get what I want from you anyways. And so they start to treat you ongoing like a clown, which is with no respect. Okay? That's why I don't like it when you guys do that. We did the same things during the third meeting. Okay. Oh my God. I just, I don't get it, man. Mary, I don't get it, man. How So you did it on the second date. And then after the second date, you go on to talk about how, no guy is going to get this from you. And then you do it again on the third date. I noticed he often stared at me when we were hanging out and when I wasn't looking, which I didn't quite understand. He's probably thinking about penetrating you. What are you expecting? We haven't seen each other for a month now because my mother found out about him and is against it due to the age difference and him being a YouTuber. My family is very strict, and both he and I come from religious backgrounds. We're not originally Germans. I had to cancel our fourth planned meeting, thank God. So at least no more touching for him. Like, damn. At the aquarium because of this. You're probably going to wank him off in the aquarium. Thank God you didn't go. Which he understood, although he seemed pretty disappointed. Yeah, he was probably saving his nut for a week so that he could bust it crazy when you wank him off for the fourth time. He was probably real disappointed he couldn't bust another nut. I kind of became colder in my responses to him. The next day, he messaged me jokingly asking if I was at the aquarium already, and I replied briefly but not dismissively. A few days later, we talked again, and I teased him about wanting to see the fish more than him. He suggested we meet secretly so I could see them, and I agreed, but I was busy and told him I'm free in a week. During this time, I started watching your videos, which made me more cautious about how I interacted with him. Let's see how cautious it made you. When the week came, he messaged me asking if I was still alive since we hadn't spoken in days. We chatted briefly, and I spontaneously asked if he was free the next day. How could you say that you were watching my videos and then say that you spontaneously asked him if he was free the next day? When do I ever say in my videos that you should do that? When do I ever say that? He said yes, but wasn't sure if he could get the car. What are you doing? What are you doing? He doesn't own one, so he has to borrow one from his friends when he needs one. His family don't have cars? Unfortunately, he couldn't get one, and since my car was broken, we couldn't meet. Where is this going? 5 days later, I messaged him to check in, and we had some small talk. Mary, you haven't been watching my videos. Like you're actually saying like the opposite of what I tell you to do. What's going on? I tried to show more interest because I felt I'd been too cold. What? You're literally doing exactly the opposite. Are you saying that you watched my videos to do the exact opposite? Because you literally, after you said you started watching my videos, you proceeded to say everything the opposite of what I advised to do in my videos. What do you mean you tried to show him interest because you felt you'd been too cold? Been too cold by what? Not wanking him off every moment of his life? By what? Not driving to him and picking him up and letting him sit in the passenger seat while you wank him off and drive? And he responded normally, even sending voice messages. I ended our conversation with his name and a crying face emoji after he made a nasty joke. It's humor, as I said. He is actually very bold. He only liked my message and we haven't spoken since. That was 1 week ago. I feel like he's just matching the cold vibe I gave him earlier by not texting me back. I'm not obsessed with him. Something bad always comes after people say that. I have my own life and don't wait around for his messages, but I'm wondering if I mess things up by being too distant. What is the distance you're referring to? Because you didn't message him every day? That's being distant? Because your car was broken and he didn't have one, so he couldn't take you out on a date? That's being distant? All you have done, right, is do nothing, which is exactly what I advise you to do. If guys have a problem with that, it's because they want you to do the chasing or pursuing. Your job, if he wants you, is not to do more for him and show him how much you can prove to him you like him. Like, what is this? Get out of this mindset that you're being cold or rude to people because you have self-respect. Okay? You're the woman. If he's approaching you and pursuing you, he can do that, but like he's actually going to have to do that. I don't want to message him again because I've already initiated the conversation twice in a row, and although he responded normally, he hasn't reached out since. It's frustrating because I'm waiting for him to suggest meeting up again since I really do want to see him. In the last conversation, he only asked if my car got repaired, and I said no. Do you think he'll ghost me? What do you think his intentions are? And what if he reaches out? Should I respond with more interest? I hope you understand that English is not my first language. It's fine. Thank you for being like a big brother, Tomisin. Update today. Update, he texted me. He said, just let me know I'm leaving soon. Huh? He travels frequently, so he's likely going on vacation. Looks like he was waiting for me to mention meeting up, which you should never do. But if he says, let me know I'm leaving, I'm leaving soon, say, let you know about what? Make him do the work. Don't ever, I know that you know what he means. Don't ever fall into the trap of doing the work for him by filling in the blanks for him. If he says, just to let you know I'm leaving soon, say, so you're leaving soon, so what does that mean? Let him do it. He's a man. He was supposed to be. Okay? If he says, just to let you know I'm leaving soon, okay, leaving, so what does that mean? That means I want to take you out on a date before I leave. Okay, so where do you want to go? Don't do the job for him. He's trying to bait you. Don't do it. Don't take the bait. Remember, I said I wanted to go to the aquarium together? Well, on Sunday, I went to the zoo and saw all the animals and fishes because I wasn't going to wait over a month to see them. Good. That's exactly what you should have done. I'm glad you did that. Proud of you. Am I too mean? No. You have a life. You wanted to go to the aquarium. Your life doesn't stop because the guy that you were going to go to the aquarium with can't have the cojones to ask you to go to the aquarium. Okay? That's perfectly fine. In fact, that's what I encourage you to do. That way you're not sitting around hoping that one day he'll ask you to go to the aquarium. Okay? What should I respond? Because I'm a bit confused about his behavior. I was really happy that he messaged me today and I genuinely want to see him again. But I don't want it to turn into something casual like we just discussed today. I want him to get to know me on a serious level. And don't worry, I'm not going to be intimate with him anymore. Back then, I didn't know that it was wrong. I didn't know you. Okay, let's hope so. I'm just not sure how to explain that to him now. You don't have to, just don't do it anymore. He's probably expecting it to happen again. Okay, so you're going to keep your hands to yourself on this next meeting. No wanking him off. And his pants better not unbuckle for any reason whatsoever in this next date. I also, in terms of your response, you are not going to respond to him anything except for, so what does that mean? Okay? So with your response to him, what does that mean? So he can tell you what he means by he's leaving soon. Not just say that, hoping that you'll say, oh, so since you're leaving, I came up with a great idea. Maybe we should go out on a date before you leave. No, you're the woman. It's not your job. If he wants to take you out and he's that pressed, then he can come out and fix his mouth to say, I would like to take you out for a date. Okay? Stop encouraging these shy, soy boy, feminine men that cannot be bothered to do anything that requires effort. Stop encouraging them by giving them a way out to see you without actually asking you on a date. Okay? Let him be a man. Do not let him escape out of this and see you and get access to you without being intentional about you. Okay? Worst mistake you can make. Don't ever do that. Not only just for this situation, but for the rest of the relationship. You're building, listen, if you are going to end up with this guy, you're building the foundation now. You never want to allow him to get used to the idea that in order to get access to you, he doesn't have to be intentional with you. You want to start training him from now. You training your puppy. You got a puppy right now. Eventually your puppy will be a full-grown adult dog. When your puppy is a full-grown adult dog, that's not the time where you start retraining him on all the things you should have trained him on earlier. You train him from now that if he's going to get access to you, he better be very intentional with you and intentional about this relationship. If he's not, he will not get access to you. If he's waiting on you to ask him out on a date and you to say, hey, I would love to go to this aquarium still because we haven't gotten a chance to go to no, you're not going to be doing that. You don't have time for that. That's not your role. That's not your job. And you train him with that from now. Okay, that is my advice to you. So that was basically an update. So that's kind of like takes what more precedent in this. Now you know better. You know what not to do. Don't be wanking them off. Don't be doing any of that stuff. And don't, damn sure, don't allow him to not have to be intentional with you, but still be able to go out on a date with you because you ask him. Don't do that. Okay. Next we have here, let's see, Ellie. Okay. I believe I saw Ellie's one as well. Let me just check. Okay, let me check Ellie's. Ellie says his background, let me make this big. His background report came out poorly. Need advice on how to proceed. I feel like this is going to be juicy. Ellie says, first off, we sincerely appreciate you, Tomisin, for doing the Lord's work and helping us girlies vet the men properly. So here we go. I'm 23, dating a 25-year-old man for 2 months now. We met at work and we are in a medium distance relationship about 1 hour drive apart. Never heard of that before. Medium distance. Okay, medium distance. I get it. Let's call him Ted. We met on orientation day when we joined the company this summer. Truthfully, it was not love at first sight. He was medium ugly. That's pretty funny. That's actually pretty funny. And I had an indifferent attitude towards him. Okay. That's actually a good place for you to be. I don't want to seem boastful, but I'm a good-looking woman and a third-year student at a prestigious university. So you're saying you got a dump truck and you got brains. You got the best of both worlds. Most people would say that I'm out of his league when it comes to visuals. Ted finished college and wants to be a police officer as his career. We joined the company. I'm confused. I wonder what the company is. If he wants to be a police officer. The story begins when Ted asked for my IG on the first day of orientation. Wow, he's horned up for you. Your dump truck must have been bussing that day. I didn't give it to him because I didn't want to. Then on the last day of orientation, Ted and I were put in the same group. So we chatted for a bit, and later on, he asked for my socials again, but I didn't feel comfortable giving it to him. We work in different departments, but we chat occasionally, and over time, I started to see him as a chill guy. He's growing on you. That's what that means. Eventually, Ted asked me out for dinner. Okay. I said yes to dinner and gave him my number because he seemed like a good guy. Okay, so no socials, but he got the number. Okay. It seems that he is not a player because he stuttered and couldn't keep eye contact while asking me out. Okay. Let's go on. We'll see how this works out. In 2 months, we've only gone on 3 dates, 1 to 2 weeks apart because of our busy schedules. I'm not new to the game. I have been watching for quite some time and have been implementing your strategies. Since the beginning of TED, I have done nothing. Good, very good. He is doing all the work with initiating and setting up dates. I keep texting him at minimum, of course. At times, I could sense he's testing me, like rescheduling our date twice, then canceling on the day of the date because he got sick. I've already accepted that these men will test me regardless. So I built a mental fortitude and try me attitude. Okay, good. So you're not phased. It's good. So far, Ted has been consistent for 2 months. He's made future plans and dates already, but I don't even buy into those. My response is, we'll see. Oh, you're learning, Ellie will say, right? You're learning. I've been through my fair share of heartbreaks and definitely learned from my past endeavors. I don't want to invest any effort or emotions in a guy who hasn't proven himself worthy yet. I feel like I've done great following your strategies and advice in modern dating. 100%. You've been doing good so far. Ted has been good so far. I'm noticing I'm starting to develop feelings for him. That's not unnatural. Just don't start acting a fool, okay? I know people are on their best behavior in the early stages of dating. I've made plans to befriend his coworkers to get an understanding of Ted's character. Sadly, I'm disappointed to hear his background report from his colleagues. Apparently, Ted likes to ask girls for their IG while working. One of his coworkers also mentioned he heard Ted talking to his friends, scrolling through his following on Instagram, talking about, I'm going to smash her tonight. Remember when I said, we'll see? When she said he's not a player because he stutters? His background report was the opposite of my perception and understanding of him as a good guy who is not a player. It's funny. Honestly, I felt hurt after hearing this. I was starting to have feelings and lower my guard, but after hearing this, I was knocked back into reality. Tomisin, I need your input on this. Should I proceed with caution? Would you recommend me dig deeper or comfort him or confront him of his reports? Or should I silently detach and move on? I appreciate your advice. Thank you for reading this. Take care, and I look forward to hearing your advice on my situation. I'm going to answer two very important pieces of your question. The first very important piece that I want you to take away from this as a learning lesson for yourself for the future, whether this works out or not, I want you to never, ever forget that the only way you actually know someone is when you meet them and experience them and you gather information about them. Because meeting them and experiencing them is gathering information, but also meeting their friends, also meeting people around them that have met them before. All of that is gathering information. That is the only time you actually know someone. Everything else is your imagination that you believe in because that's the narrative you want to believe in. I say that because I was literally thinking exactly this when you said this, when you made this statement, right? He seemed like a good guy. It seems that he is not a player because he stuttered and couldn't keep eye contact while asking me out. I was actually, if you guys rewind, I paused because I was going to tell you that's not what that actually means. I understand that that's your idea of what that means, but that's not, you don't actually know him for real. And you can't actually make an assumption that this guy is not going to have any sort of ulterior motive simply because he stutters a little bit and he can't keep eye contact. See, all of these type of little things, your guard comes down just a little bit thinking that, oh, this guy's different. I'm going to build this narrative in my mind that he's not like the other guys and he won't approach me the same way the other guys will approach me because of this or because of that. And in reality, him stuttering or not being able to keep eye contact with you is not actual information that would tell you he's not going to play you. Okay. And I'm not saying that even that right now he's playing you. I just want you to bank that so you remember for the future that before you make the decision that, hey, I know that this is a good guy, and before you decide on that narrative in your mind, you take the time to say, regardless of what I think you might be like, I'm going to wait until I experience you in a plethora of different situations. I gather more information about you. Then I'm going to decide what type of guy you are. But I won't allow any of my preconceived notions before actually meeting you or getting to know you. I won't let those preconceived notions take over my mind where I am in belief that you are someone that you've never shown yourself to be. Okay. Everything that we talk about in the Players Club is a lot about strategies on how you can better receive people and receive information about them so that you can eventually come to the realization of who they actually are and what they're actually about. Never forget your preconceived notion on who they are based on what they look like or based on something small is not real information. You only gather real information over time. Okay. So that is what I want you to take from that. Now, the second really big thing that I want you to take from this is I want you, in response to this realization that you've had from getting the background report from his colleagues. By the way, what you did was good, because this is you don't just gather information from one source, from him. You gather information from the friends, you gather information from the coworkers, you meet his extended family. You're gathering information from multiple sources so you can understand the three-dimensional person as they exist in all these different ways. Because you're meeting one side of that person's personality when you go out on a dinner date with them on a Saturday night. There is so many other sides to any individual's personality. You couldn't possibly be able to know all of those just by going out on dinner dates with them on Saturday nights. So it's very important that as time goes on, which is why I always tell you guys it's a process. As time goes on, you're not only gathering information from him, but you're also gathering information from other people around him. And you're banking that information to help you understand who that person is. Okay? And so I say that was a good job that you did, and you gathered some good information that way. Now, you should be more cautious as you go on, even though you're liking this guy more. Continue to be cautious of the fact that you don't need to be giving him anything, because clearly he seems to be a guy who's in it to get what he wants, and then he's never going to, he's just trying to smash type of thing. And so this is another reason why you need to continue approaching with caution, and definitely not be overly investing yourself into him. So the moment you start thinking to yourself, maybe he hasn't texted me in a couple of days, maybe I should reach out to him and ask him out on a date, or ask him what he's doing, don't do it. Let's see how long he's willing to continue being consistent until he says to himself, this is a waste of my time, I'm not getting anything. So I know this sounds horrible, but now that you've received that information, I want you to never give him anything. Not a handy, not a footy, not a nothing. Okay? The most you should ever be doing is kissing him. I don't want you going over to his place to spend a whole bunch of time. I don't want you, just chilling and watching Netflix. And I definitely don't want him to be able to be grabbing and feeling up on you, getting you drunk at his place and sleeping with you. None of that. You give him nothing. The reason you give him absolutely nothing is because you need to be really, really sure. How invested is this guy for real? Because now that you have this information, this is like a stick up now. You have to either call him out on his bluff that he's only here to smash by giving him nothing, or he's going to invest in you for years. And at that point, he's made the decision within himself that he's just going to keep investing in you and keep taking you out on dates despite getting nothing. And a guy who's only interested in smashing will eventually give up on that, because that becomes a waste of his time. So you're kind of having a stick up with him now where you're not going to do anything. But if he continues to pursue you, you're going to allow him to pursue you. And you're going to basically see how long are you going to keep this act up before you either get tired or just ask me to be your girlfriend. Because it can only end up one of those two ways. So now you really have to play the waiting game. And now you really have to make sure you're not giving in to anything that he wants or not doing anything for him, because you know that there's a good chance he's only here to smash. And especially too, I also want you to take away this as well. Especially too, because you work with him, so he sees you on an ongoing basis, he could really be here to play the long game, where he just continues working on you and working on you and working on you, knowing that he's going to continuously see you at work, right? Knowing that getting the ability to smash someone that he already works with and sees all the time anyways is a win for him. So if he can add you to the roster just by casually being with you and around you all the time and talking to you and taking you out all the time, then maybe that's a win for him. So I also want you to be thinking about that. I don't want to turn you into a complete pessimist, but I won't lie. That's not a good sign if he's saying that that's how he talks when he's not around you at work with his other coworkers. If he talks like that to his coworkers and to his friends, that's an insight to his mind frame, okay? Because guys don't just say that for no reason, all right? So I want you to be aware of that, okay? Next question we have here, let's see. Next question we have here comes from Queen Glam, okay? So Queen Glam says UK to Spain. So we'll do Queen Glams, then we'll do a couple in the free section. UK to Spain. Queen Glam says, "Hi, Tomisin. Thanks so much for sharing your knowledge and advice. I've discovered you like 3 weeks ago, and I've been binge watching all your videos. Hi, I'm a 38-year-old living in the south of Spain. Damn, you living good. English is not my first language. I met a 49-year-old man on a dating app back in April. I know. Before you say anything, I already deleted it weeks ago." Okay. That's what you say. He lives in London, UK, and also owns a house close to my city. He told me he just moved to London that same week when we started talking. Perfect timing. He also told me his situation in London was temporary because he's got some work there. We got to talk almost every day for a month or so. He's always been very respectful and kind, very well-mannered and polite. He's a businessman and an author of several books. He pursued me all the time and was always saying, "I wish you were here," and these kind of things. But there was a point where we drifted off and stopped talking. I think you meant to say 2 months later. I thought about him, wondering if he already came, and the day after, he texted me and told me he was planning to come to Spain in August. I literally manifested him. He's been consistent with his communication and always respectful. No pineapple related stuff. Always kind and affectionate, calling me sweetheart and love. Also, he's been scheduling a couple video calls a week. Okay. He notified me in advance the dates he would come here and schedule a dinner date. Okay. He drove 30 minutes to come pick me up and take me to a restaurant that he chose. He did everything for me, also opened the doors and of course paid for the food. Okay, so this is good so far. We enjoyed the food and the conversation. I asked him about his ideal life and checked if it aligned with mine. He also told me about some tough moments he had in the past where he had to learn how to manifest the hard way. Then there were many people celebrating their birthday with sparklers and stuff, and I also wanted sparklers. So he told the waitress it was my birthday just to give me the sparkles, even if it was fake. Then he drove me back home, and in that moment, we had a power cut. We had the power cut in the entire neighborhood, first time in years. So we went to the beach because I live 50 meters away and watched the stars. He tried to impress me all the time by telling stories and singing a song. Also, hugging me and tried to kiss me, but I didn't allow him. We just joked about it. The date was great, and after that, we spoke again the day after. 2 days later, he asked me on a second that same day. Oh, so this is like a same day, like I want to ask you out on a date, like let's go out today. But I told him I was busy and I could go the next day, but then he was busy. So we didn't see each other again. No problem with that. There's no problem with that. There's no problem with that. Now he's back in the UK for over a week and kept texting consistently a bit every day and video calling. He initiates like 90% of the text. I leave him on read many times and we both take our sweet time to answer. He always initiates calls and he expressed in the dates in the video calls that he wants to marry you or marry in general. So basically he's checking if I'm a potential wife and if I'm doing the same. He also expressed that his work situation is temporary and he plans to go back to Spain or live between both cities, which I wouldn't mind. I'm also on my way to have more freedom with my business, so that wouldn't be an issue. He wants to come back in October and he's planning to stay longer this time. And then we might spend more time together. So far, so good. He checks all the boxes of my love list, and I'm willing to discover more about him. He always calls me lovely and cute, and the other day asked me why I'm not on his arm yet, meaning by his side. And I replied that he didn't take the necessary steps for that yet. My question is, how should I proceed from here? I think this guy might be worth the trouble of a long-distance relationship, and he owns a house here, so it could be realistic in case it progresses. any advice on how to accelerate some progress or motivate him to escalate? You guys know I never like it when you guys are thinking about, how do I make this happen faster? How do I get him to do more? Right? Thinking that there's a crazy strategy of how you can text him the right things, or how you can wear the right dress that will make things progress faster. Let me say it, and I want all of you to say it with me. All you have to do is do nothing. Do nothing. Why is doing nothing the answer, and almost always the answer, Queen Glam? Because when you do nothing for a man who is already pursuing you and already has interest in you, what ends up happening is he continues to pursue you and show interest in you. That is how guys work. The moment you start thinking about how to do more for him to get this thing to progress faster, you're going to lose, because you're going to become needy. You're going to become desperate. And the more anxious you're going to be, because you're going to be trying your hardest to make this work. Okay? And I need you to understand, really, what are you actually asking? Because this guy lives in London. So he's obviously not going to be able to see you all the time. He also has a job. If he has 2 houses, right? If he owns one in London and also owns one in the south of Spain, clearly he making some bread. Okay, he's not struggling on the bread on the money side. So if he's not struggling on the money side, that probably means he's a pretty busy person. Okay, right? He probably has things to do when he's in London. He's working. So he sees you when he actually does have time to see you, which he has been doing. And based on what you've been saying, he's been pretty intentional about when he can see you. He comes to see you. He comes to Spain. He plans this time with you, and he spends it with you. And he's a gentleman when he spends that time with you. Okay? So I say that to say, sometimes it's crazy. And this is why I exist in your life. It's crazy. Sometimes even when you get everything you want, you're only thinking about how to get more, or how it's not absolutely perfect. You have to realize here, you've just told me that this guy is intentional. Despite living far away from you, he still comes to see you. He still takes you out on dates. He's a gentleman. He's not someone that looks like he's super pineapple focused or only here to sleep with you. He's mature. He's in the right mind state because he's looking for marriage. Like, you said so many things that, yeah, he's in line with what I'm looking for, and he's treating this relationship appropriately, right? And he's been consistent as well, despite being far away from you. So everything you've said is exactly why this has been working for you. Okay? Right? So far is what I mean. And if this has been working for you so far, why are you thinking about how to do more so that you can get more out of him? You're already getting his interest. You're already getting his pursuit. Okay? And I just don't want you to forget, like, everything doesn't have to happen in one day. And see, that's the problem with Disney princess movies and teen dramas, is that they convince you that if a guy is not making everything happen with you in one day, then he doesn't like you, or this isn't happening fast enough. You're building a relationship, okay? You're building this up to be serious and long-term. It does not have to happen overnight. In fact, this is actually a really good sign that this is happening at a healthy pace, because he might be ready to marry, but he's not saying, I want to marry you tomorrow. Okay, that's actually a sign of someone who's mature, logical, rational, who actually wants to take this seriously and not just utilize love bombing you to manipulate you. That's the thing. When you become so accustomed to guys love bombing you all the time, you think the guys that are actually taking their time don't like you. He actually likes you and has some interest in you. And he's showing that and being consistent in that. But the thing about it is, the teen dramas and the Disney princess stories are going to convince you that the guys who aren't love bombing you aren't interested in you. That's not true. Okay? And I want you to just realize that doing nothing is the best way to get an understanding if a guy is truly interested in you or not. If you continue to do nothing and he continues to pursue you, well, then there's your answer. He actually has real interest in you. If you continue to do nothing and then his pursuit falls off a cliff and he doesn't seem that interested in you, then there's your answer as well. So don't think about how to do more to make this progress faster. It's already progressing. Just keep it there. He messages you, he calls you, he tries to video chat with you, he tries to be intentional, and despite him living far away from you, he tries to see you, right? Someone says, that love bombing, he wants to marry and ain't spend no real money. Come on. Well, this is the thing. I want you guys to be understanding of this, right? Because when I read this message, I know that you guys think the sign of a man being in love with you is when he sees you, he meets you, and immediately he wants to spend thousands of dollars on you, take you out on fancy vacations, and buy you everything that you want, okay? I just want you to understand there are also masculine men who can take initiative and can date you properly and date you with intention that are going to build up over time, okay? I just never want you guys to live on one extreme or the other, where you think that, oh, if a guy's not love bombing me, then he's not interested in me. If he's not spending thousands of dollars on a date with me, then he's not interested in me. Okay? Guys can show interest in you, being intentional with you. And like you said, because this emotional part is way more important than how much money he's spending. And I really want you guys to have your mind focused in the right place, right? You said he's been consistent, right? With his communication and always respectful. No pineapple related stuff. This is the type of stuff I want you guys fixated on, rather than how much money he spends on the date and all this silly stuff that doesn't actually mean he's emotionally invested in you. Okay? I can't help but emphasize how important this is, because some of you lose your mind over the wrong stuff. See, some of you, when I read this message out, you read, oh, he didn't take you out on a fancy date, so he's not interested in you. And that's what you took from that. But if she would have said, he took me to Nobu 3 times, you guys would have said, oh, then that means he's interested. That means he wants you. That's not exactly what that means. Guys will spend money on you when they're invested in you, yes, but him spending money on you doesn't mean necessarily that he's taking this relationship seriously. Consistency means he's taking this relationship seriously. Treating you with respect emotionally and respecting boundaries and not trying to hop right into pineapples and being okay with not sleeping with you on the first night, that is showing that he has a real genuine interest. Okay? I do want you to understand, rich guys can throw money at you to sleep with you on the first night. Do you know that? Do you realize that? Rich men who realize that you're only focused on how much money they'll spend, they know that if they have a lot of disposable income and they spend a lot of money on a couple of dates with you and get you some nice gifts, you'll sleep with them on the second date. So what do? They throw some disposable income that they already had access to on you. You're mesmerized because you've convinced yourself that guys show their interest by spending a lot of money on you. And so he spends a lot of money on you. Then he sleeps with you in the first week. Then he discards of you because he just wanted to sleep with you as easy as possible. And if it took a little bit extra money to do that, to impress you, then that's what he does. I want you to understand, the hardest thing for a guy to ever do is consistently, emotionally invest in you and pursue you. That is the hardest thing for any man to do, because that is the hardest thing possible to fake. It's easy to fake interest by spending a lot of money. It's easy, especially if you have disposable income. If I make $10,000 a month and a girl is impressed by a $300 date, and she'll sleep with me on the first or second night because I take her on a $300 date and I make $10,000 a month, sure, $300 date. If that's what will impress you, $300 date, I'll sleep with you. I'll get what I want very easily. You get what you want. You get a fancy date and everyone's happy. Money is easy to fake. To substitute for interest. Emotional investment and consistency in that emotional investment, right, is not easy to fake, because it takes time and it builds up. It doesn't just happen in a second, and it doesn't just happen on one date to Nobu. Okay? Never, ever forget that. And I don't know if Queen Glam was thinking that way, but I've seen some of you guys mentioning that in the chat. And I never want you guys to forget that either. I know some other people might preach to you, only worry about getting the bag. If he's not spending thousands of dollars on you, then he doesn't like you. Look, if that's how they think that you should live your life and that's what they advise you to do, more power to them. But if you come to me and you ask me what I think the most important keys you need to be looking out for is emotional investment and consistency of that emotional investment. His ability to be okay with setting boundaries and having boundaries in the relationship and being consistent with you in all aspects of the relationship. Those are the most important key factors to understanding how serious a guy is with you. Okay? Are you following me? Right? None of that other stuff, to me at least, is important as this that you're discussing, that I'm talking about in terms of the emotional investment, right? So that was my response to you. I hope that helped you, Queen Glam, on what you should do. Nothing. So let's go hop over into regular relationship advice here, and we're going to answer a few questions. You see, we got a lot to do in regular relationship advice, and we'll do a few in here as well. Okay. So Bobby says, how can we extract what we want from them when they're trying to make a comeback? Going into detail, I always have guys that will try to make a comeback when I'm living my best life without them. I still want to dibble and dabble with them because the drought is real and I want to leave the situation with the upper hand. I'm not trying to be toxic, but rather a strategic. A good student. Thank you, Tomisin. Okay. Bobby, I'm going to tell you what I tell all of you that are thinking about, hey, I want to do for me and have my own pleasure and have my own fun, like we just talked about today. You're basically saying, I want to have my own casual thing, so how can I extract from him this casual thing and I get the upper hand? You don't. You don't. Why do you not do that, Bobby? Because what you're asking for here is to get the upper hand by getting some sort of pleasure or getting him to spend money on you or take you out to make you feel good about yourself, as if that's going to make up for the fact that at first they didn't treat you right. So what is him coming back and, making you feel good going to do if you know that you're not here to actually build a relationship? Because you didn't ask me when he comes back, what should I do? You asked me, how can we extract what we want from them when they're trying to make a comeback? As if you have no intention of actually being with them still. You just want to extract from them something when they choose to make a comeback. And I'm here to share with you, if you're only thinking about extracting something from him or to feed your ego, then you're wasting your time. The only time you should allow someone to come back into your life is if you actually feel like there's a possibility you could if he acts right, you could end up being in a relationship again. If you automatically already have resigned yourself to the idea that, yeah, you're not what I'm looking for, but I'll let you entertain me just until I'm bored again and I'll get what I want from you, you're still wasting your time. Because why are you spending time with a guy that you don't want to build a relationship with? It's a waste of your time. Bobby, and I'll let all of the rest of you know, stop wasting your time on men that you don't want to be in a relationship with. Your time is too valuable for you to be wasting your time that way. If you want pleasure, go get you that Tracy's dog sucking vibe. That will give you pleasure. Okay? You don't need random men that you're not building a relationship with for that pleasure. Save it for your toy. And then listen. Only two places you should be spending your time and energy: on yourself and on people who show you that they're properly invested in you. Nothing else. You only have 100% of your energy. You cannot waste it on people who are not building anything with you. Stop doing that. Even if you think you're getting something or extracting something from him by casually spending time with him and just letting him take you out, you're still wasting your time, because that's energy that could be reinvested back into you until you meet someone that you actually want to invest yourself in. Stop wasting your own time. Stop it. You'll only look back and regret wasting so much time. Okay. Next here we have, let's see. Wow, so many to do. We have AM. Okay. Weekend Getaway AM says, hi, I'm 22, kind of rekindled things with a man who's 25 about going on 3 years. I've made it clear to him that I don't want this unless things are more fun. It's almost like you made this message for this show today. I'm okay with my own space and no pineapple relations if it's not what I want. Our most recent time together was this past Sunday. He knows I've come back from celebrating the 4th in DC. He had brought up a trip over. Oh, I think I'd read this. Due to layoffs, I financially knows can finance to DC, but I never travel. Oh yeah, I read this one. Going on a trip with a man. Sorry, I did that one. Let me do one that I haven't done yet. I don't know why that popped up there, and I did that one already. It shouldn't have been highlighted. That was strange. So Dexter Morgan. Okay, Dexter Morgan says, Black car effect. Hi, I wanted to know if the black cat. You said black car up here, but you meant black cat. If the black cat advice works with homosexual men. I wanted to improve my experience with guys and recently haven't found success. I'm 23 years old and very handsome. Oh, okay. Sorry. I thought you were a girl asking me this question. That's why I was confused. Yeah, sorry. I'm 23 years old, 5'10", and very handsome and very empathetic and kind. Most of the times I feel as though guys take advantage of me and judge me because of my feminine traits or being expressive about my feelings. I also want to stay off dating apps for happy people. Do you have any advice? My Instagram, wait, what? I don't need to see how you look. It's fine. I get the gist. So in terms of advice for you being the black cat, I mean, you can still do that, but here's the thing. I'm speaking from a place of naivety, so I don't really know how homosexual people do their relationships or what the dynamic is. So just keep in mind, bear in mind, I'm literally taking a guess in the dark and a shot in the dark. I have no actual experience in this and no real perspective to offer you because I just don't know what your life is like. You understand what I'm saying? So I say that to say, assuming in a relationship like this, there is one masculine energy and one feminine energy, because it would be hard to coexist as two masculine energies, right? Even if you're both guys, there is going to come a point where if you're naturally the feminine energy in most of your relationships with guys, then yeah, the guy's probably going to be doing most of the pursuing of you, right? And if that's the case, then you kind of have to follow the advice that I give in terms of allowing the guys that are pursuing you the space to actually pursue you. Now, this is where I say I might be a little bit naive because I don't know if there's a back and forth process that's supposed to go on that's more natural to the flow of things for you. And so I can't necessarily speak if that's supposed to be the dynamic, right, in terms of having one masculine energy and that's doing more pursuing and one feminine energy, or if it's supposed to be equal, right? Because there becomes a little bit of confusion when everything is equal and everyone's expected to do the same thing, because then you don't know if it's your turn or if it's his turn or whose turn it is. You understand what I'm saying? But assuming, like you said, you have more feminine traits and you're more expressive of your feelings, assuming you're a more feminine energy in your relationships, then it's kind of on the masculine men that are pursuing you. It's their job to take that spot of pursuing you and, asking you out and doing those things that a man would be doing. You understand what I'm saying? And then it's just your job to receive that. You understand what I'm saying? And if it's your job to receive that, there's not much that you need to be doing. You don't need to be asking them out on dates. You don't need to be going out of your way to plan with them or do things with them. And this is where I say I could be extremely wrong because I don't know. Maybe that is your job, right? Maybe that is your job. And but in terms of being a black cat is really about being into yourself and investing into yourself, and allowing the people that recognize you and are attracted to you to approach you, right? You receive them, you observe them, you let them, you vet them and see if you're going to give any of your time and energy into them, but you're not out and about gallivanting desperate for other people. So for you, to give you some more technical advice, instead of being on the apps, I would advise you to find places that you could go where you can find people like that, but aren't on the app. You understand what I'm saying? So that you can be in person, meeting different types of people, having a conversation with them and getting to know people and feeling these vibes in person as opposed to on these apps. Because on these apps, I can only imagine if what guys are doing on the straight apps, the regular apps, on the the happy apps, we'll call it like that, because I don't want TikTok to take me down here. On the happy apps, I can only imagine what the guys, how much more straightforward the guys are on those apps, you know what I mean, in terms of what they're looking for and what they want, right? So it's definitely incumbent upon you to go out, put yourself out there by stepping outside of your house, meeting people and receiving them, allowing them to show you if they're really serious about you and serious about taking this relationship to the next level, or if they're only trying to sleep with you very easily, and for you, I would definitely be cognizant about sleeping with people very early on, because I'm sure that probably a lot of guys are very hyper-focused and fixated on that. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, guys. That was the show for today. I hope you got some value out of that. If I didn't answer your question, don't fret. We got lots of time to answer questions coming up in the chat. Also, I wanted to acknowledge Nicole, who donated $5 earlier on in the show. Nicole says, what about guy friends that think of us like brothers, people we do ministry with? Well, what do you mean he thinks of you as like a brother? Or sorry, that we think of like brothers. Well, okay, so you might think of him like a brother, but does he think of you like a sister? If he... I want to let you guys in. This is the little secret I'll leave you with. Guys find it very difficult in any capacity to consistently invest themselves heavily into women that they don't find attractive or don't have any desire to be with on a deeper level than just be friends with them. Men are really hardwired to only invest themselves in women that they find attractive and they want to like be more with. Okay? It's very difficult for them to be consistently investing in women who they don't see anything with and see no purpose in investing in them, whether it be subconsciously or consciously. So even in the ministry, even in your church, the guys that are trying to be like your best friend, that are always paying attention to you, always concerned about you, always keeping conversation with you, always keeping up with you, it's not for no reason. I'll say it like that. Okay? I hate to make that sound morbid, but it's not for no reason. Okay? Guys don't invest themselves consistently like that for no reason, for fun. You understand? I just want you to keep that in mind. All right, guys. So if I didn't get to answer your question, don't worry. I'll answer your question soon. But if you're in the VIP relationship advice section, I'll answer your question tomorrow because VIP gets to skip the line. So if you want to get in VIP, all you have to do is go to the link in my bio if you're on TikTok, or the link and that's pinned to the top, or it's also in the description if you're on YouTube. You click it. Once you go into the premium section, you donate and you submit the username and the title of your question. Then when you ask your question, just have it be the same title, and I'll be able to identify that that's you in the Discord and know that you donated to the show, and you get to skip the line. If you don't care about skip the line, you can just ask a regular free question and free relationship advice, and then I'll answer it. Someone said I'm a month behind. Yeah, I am a month behind. So it's going to take me a while if you're in the free section. But don't fret. We're here every single weekday, okay? For those of you who want to follow me on Instagram because you love me so much, you want to see everything I'm doing 24 hours of the day, my Instagram is right above my head right there. It's available for you. You can follow me on Instagram and see everything that I'm up to, how I came here today. It's also on the bottom right of the screen, and you can follow me on Instagram if you're on YouTube there as well. All right. And for those of you who are on TikTok and you want to rewatch this entire show and you want to see all the other shows that I've done in the past, all you got to do is go over to my YouTube page. It's just my name. Just screenshot this or type it in and you'll be able to find this show. Go to the live section. You'll find this live along with all the other live streams I've done in the past. And the best part is you'll have the YouTube and the TikTok live chat embedded in the video. So you'll be able to follow along with everything that we discussed today in the chat. All right. I'm here every weekday, Monday to Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern. I almost had a brain fart there. At 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you got to figure out what time that is in your time zone. So I'll be here to see you tomorrow. Until then, goodbye for now. Adios. Arrivederci. Au revoir. Hasta la vista. Bon voyage. And I will be here again tomorrow at exactly 4 p.m. Eastern. I love you so much.